day. Oh. Check it out. See, while you was on the corner trying to scrape up pack money, I was driving 80 stack trucks off rap money. I'm back money. If you want it, come to the hundreds and ask for me. Meet them OGs that'll blast for me. I'm right here. Ill Adidas, $400 jeans on me. Itchy with no safety, a loaded magazine on me. Southside, that's as wild as it gets. And no, I never sold crack. That's some house nigga shit. I'm not judging, but every man that's a man gotta by his prison. Bake it how you want. I spit that uncut raw. You can bake it how you want. Break it down any way you like. You ain't
what's up now?
Oh, BJ, get him. Come on.
Reporting live from the gutter where that butter get gorillas jobs. That's why we call it work. The same work who get a nigga robbed. I throw my dice against the concrete. If the bitches pass, see you later. Grab my paper, tell her they kiss my ass. This the jungle, baby, I'm a lion. Try me, I'll be firing. The same banger saved Private Ryan. You the prey, you survive and hide. Better pray that them vultures and them rovers don't go flying by them. The mother niggas just so-so. How Linda birth a nigga this hot in the cold go? I went from 20-inch assassins on that Osmo to the pretty 760 sitting low on them bozos. Those are big shoes, you motherfuckers is so slow. Get caught without your heat in these streets is a no-no. Baby need Pampers, daddy need that photo. It's bread or nothing, big old niggas, you see the logo.
Whoa. Come on, Scooter.
Look, I don't see a nigga alive. And if a nigga claim he better, then that nigga done lied. And if some niggas jump chose, bet them niggas done died. You can always spot a cobra by the look in his eyes. You look at his clique, check out his bitch, look at his guys. Cause 9 times out of 10, all that tough shit be just a disguise. And that does it. I got the chrome Mac in a black luggage. Cause money ain't the root of evil, Jack is the lack of it. I stay different, I move around like y'all hate women. I'm starting to think this whole industry full of gay bitches. No checkers, it's a chess game. Catch me in the next lane. Fly nigga, bunch of ice on me like my chest frame. All money's pocketing that, like a homage rocket attack. Explode profit and jacks where your moccasins black. Acknowledging that he resides, these scriptures is heathenized. Y'all couldn't paint the pictures that he provide. Eagle eyes, eagle eye to beef out. Either scream peace or pull your piece out. The flow will knock your teeth out. From out west where we never put our rags down, nigga. If I ain't the best, most likely it's that Ragtown, nigga.
That's me. All I can see on this beat. Whoa. Hey, haters, keep hating. Y'all inspire me. Chicago, West Side, South Side, North Pole, East Side. Stick your chest out.
That's why we shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go.
Ill Adidas, $400 jeans on me. get itchy with no safety and loaded
Welcome to the mind of a
magazine.
pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got this. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Never be me, you can fake it how you want. I spit that uncut raw, you can bake it how you want. Break it down any way you like, you get the same result. Get in tune, the elephant in the room has now assumed pole position. Whoa. Oh. BJ, get him. Come on.
Reporting live from the gutter where that butter get gorillas jobs. That's why we call it work. The same work will get a nigga robbed. I throw my dice against the concrete. If the bitches pass, see you later. Grab my paper, tell us later, kiss my ass. This the jungle, baby, I'm a lion. Try me, I'll be firing. The same banger, save Private Ryan. You the prey, you survive and hide. Better pray that them vultures and them rovers don't go flying by him. Them other niggas just so-so. How Linda birth a nigga this hot in the cold go? I went from 20-inch assassins on that Osmo to the pretty 760 sitting low on them bozos. Those are big shoes, you motherfuckers is so slow. Get caught without your heat in these streets is a no-no. Baby need Pampers, daddy need that photo. It's bread or nothing, big old niggas, you see the logo.
Whoa. Whoa. Come on, Scooter.
Look, I don't see a nigga alive. And if a nigga claim he better, then that nigga done lied. And if some niggas jump chose, bet them niggas done died. You can always spot a cobra by the look in his eyes. You look at his click, check out his bitch, and look at his guys. Cause 9 times out of 10, all that tough shit be just a disguise. And that does it. I got the chrome Mac and a black luggage. Cause money ain't the root of evil, Jack is the lack of it. I stay different. I move around like y'all hate women. I'm starting to think this whole industry full of gay bitches. No checkers, it's a chess game. Catch me in the next lane. Fly nigga, bunch of ice on me like my chest ring. All money's pocketing that.
Great afternoon, family. Welcome to this Thursday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from inside the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Howard. Each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m., we get together right here and we discuss issues that are currently impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, but also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of these issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is most certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly request that y'all please take a quick second to share the broadcast, let some people know that we is over here doing what we do. Share it on your personal page, share it even within your personal network. Absolutely anyone that you think would add value to this conversation or find value in this conversation, we welcome them to be a part of the discussion, because we think that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of the conversation, the better the opportunities we have of reaching those aforementioned solutions. So please, pretty please, with sugar on top like we used to say, share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. What is happening, good brother?
What's up, family? I'm blessed and highly favored. How you?
I'm getting better. But it's been a day.
It's been a day.
It has been a day. Folks been trying me today. Folks been trying me today. But I've had a pretty good afternoon. I've had some relaxation time. I've had a couple of productive conversations, honest conversations. And so I'm not in the space that I thought I was going to be in when I got to the studio. Let me tell y'all what happened. Last night, during In the Zone, Brian Foster's show, which airs every Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here on What's In It for the Black People Media. Shout out to Brian Foster. While B. Foster was doing his show, I was working the board. Ron was working the board all day up until that point. Then he left, and when he left his Facebook page open on that computer in the production studio. Me being who I am, I said, look what we have here. So I started to comment on In the Zone from LaRon Rilla's Facebook page. Yeah.
Look at Ron.
He's
Look
getting
at
better.
Ron.
He's getting gooder. So as I'm commenting, and I'm saying the most outlandish stuff I can think of, B-Falls had some brothers on the show yesterday. Last week he had some sisters on the show. So he had brothers on there talking about relationships last night. So I said, listen, from Lil Ron page, I say, listen, all y'all are older than me. Can y'all please give me some advice? How soon is it okay to eat the booty?
A question he'd ask.
So B-Falls was like, hold on, stop the show. He like, LaRon, he's like, it's never okay. He's like, it's never okay for you to do it, right? And so I keep on commenting. It turns into a thing. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. Most people are understanding that this ain't really Lil Ron doing this, right? Boosie and them is in there. RO Double, Candace and them is in there. Dawn is in there. And she like, nephew, right? I'm like, TT, I just want to know. This is how I get the older women, right?
I get down into town.
So anyway, I do this for the duration of In the Zone. And part of We Code Wednesday with Reese and Toy. Anyhow, this morning, I'm watching the Book of Dawn, and that is when Ron is working the board. That's when he finds out about this. I don't know how he hadn't found out yet, because he had to have at least 40-something notifications on his Facebook thing.
I don't check that once I leave here.
That ain't your turn yet. So I don't know how he didn't know, but he finds out while he's working Book of Dawn. And they get in the comments, and I don't remember who it was. It might have been like BT or Devin was in there like, yo, Ron, you was wilding last night, bro. Because the bros was at him last night. They're like, bro, you is tweaking, right? And so they like, Ron, you wilding last night. Ron's completely oblivious. He's like, what you talking about? And they telling him, like, man, you was tweaking last night, all that stuff he was talking. He's like, I went to sleep at 9 o'clock, and I didn't see anything, right? And so I'm laughing, but I'm not saying anything. I'm like, I'm going to stay completely out of it because I'm just going to let it play out, right? I'm not going to out myself on it just yet. So anyway, by the time he's aware of what happened, he instantly knows that it was me. And so I get a text message from Ron that says, bro, you petty. I don't know how, but I'm going to get you back, right? Cool. It was funny. I was joking. But I'm still in. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro, right? So he goes from, bro, you petty, I'm going to get you back, ha, ha, ha type energy, to texting DJ, don't be touching my shit, right?
Got tough Tony on.
He got
Quote
tough.
me the right way.
Don't be touching my stuff. He didn't say shit. Don't be touching my stuff, including my Facebook page, right? This is what he texts DJ. So DJ screenshots it, sends it to me. So you need to get your boy, okay? Because I'm finna go real 290 on him, G, right? I'm finna go real 290 on him, right? So I'm like, I'm reading these text messages. I'm like, he is not, I'm like, where did this energy come from? Because when you found out about it, you knew I did it, and you laughed about it. Now you tight about it, but I knew he was gonna get tight about it. In the comments at the Book of Dawn, Tennille's in there, right? And so while they telling him about what happened last night, everybody's laughing. Then he says, I didn't, it wasn't me. So Tennille's like, oh, if it wasn't you, that ain't right. Tennille said, I'm going to speak on it. There needs to be an apology. And I said, who going to apologize to him? Right? Because I'm just playing with my little brother. I don't know how this thing got this big, but it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the morning. I get a text message from Maze, that a thread from Maze to me and DJ. was one of y'all on Ron's Facebook page last night? I said, it was me. And then Mace messages me a separate text message that's about this long. About, Ron expected that to be a safe space, and I shouldn't violate his trust like that, and all this old extra stuff. I'm like, how is this thing, like, are y'all serious right now? And so the whole time I'm getting more and more angry with Lil Ron because when you found out about it, two things. One, you immediately knew it was me because you texted me and said you knew it was me. And you thought it was funny enough to be like, bro, you petty, I'm going to get you back. Cool. I don't know how you went from that to letting somebody else get you so damn tight to where you texting DJ all this extra ass energy.
Is it extra though?
As
Come
hell.
on, man.
As hell. You didn't even know he did it. You didn't even know he. Matter of fact, you knew he did not do it.
Let's not act like I was that tight though. Can I tell it from my side?
Yeah, hold on. You knew that he didn't do it. You knew as soon as you heard it, you knew that I did it. And you text me immediately like, bro, you petty, I'm going to get you back. But then your daddy got you hyped up. Your daddy and your auntie, they came together and they got you hyped up like you supposed to be mad about this thing. And it turned into this whole big old thing. I'm like, so now I'm mad as hell at you. I'm like, how the hell you let somebody else get you tight about something that you initially thought was funny? Two things you knew for sure when you heard it. Herb did it, and it was funny. How it went from that to don't touch my stuff and all this extra and all these text messages and all this apologies. Not like I'm just playing with my little bro. It's not that deep. So, anyhow. I got this energy going on, so the May's like, yo, I'm over here at the store. Can you swing by here before you go to the studio? So I'm like, yeah. As soon as I get there, though, I'm like, Mace, I don't know why y'all tripping about this thing. I have no idea how y'all blowing this up like this. I was just playing with Lil Bro. I don't know how anybody else is in this thing or how it got to this level. But Lil Ron, this is your fault.
Can I talk? Please?
Sure, please talk. Please explain how you went from that's kind of funny to don't touch my stuff and all this extra goofy crap you've been talking about.
I never went from 0 to 100. I don't do that. This morning, I come into the Don show.
You lucky me and Maze had a good talk.
Listen, let me explain.
And I was I was chilling before then.
Listen, let me explain myself.
If I had saw you at around like 12, I probably would have just punched you in your chest. Like on some real big bro, because I'm so disappointed in you for letting somebody move you from where you was in this thing to a whole nother space.
But listen, can I explain myself now?
Sure, I'm done.
All right, so look, I come in this morning. I'm on the Don show, of course. And Boosie and Brandon actually was the two people to tell me. Brandon like, yo, you wildin', same stuff. So I immediately same thought process. It's Herb.
Yeah, you knew that immediately.
I immediately hit you up. So as soon as I started seeing the comments come in about, yo, you was wild last night, I immediately hit you up.
Right.
Like, yo, you petty. You hit me back. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I hit you back again. It was a back and forth thing. It wasn't just like a one text. So I hit you back again like, yo, you know what I'm talking about. I got you. Then once you hit me back again with the bro, I really don't know what you're talking about. So me and your conversation left off at that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
my point is you were very jovial in spirit at that point.
And I'm then
how did you get turned up?
Okay, so here's where it changes. The mood changes. So as we still talking about it, so I'm like, was it that bad? You know what I'm saying? It couldn't have been that bad because they still talking about it as Don show's going on.
Because I'm hilarious. It was funny as heck.
Yeah. So to Neil, like, it was really bad. You know what I'm saying?
See, gas.
But this is already on top of Herb already saying he didn't do it. So at this point, after him saying he didn't do it more than multiple times, I'm thinking it really wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? So Maze comes in like, I have the time frames. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, so y'all would...
But listen, but
it's a whole investment. Y'all is crazy. Y'all wilding about this thing, man.
I'm on Don's show, so I can't check anything. So I'm just asking, you know what I'm saying, what happened.
Y'all, man.
So Maze comes in like, yeah, according to the time frame, it really wasn't Herb. Herb said he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Wait, so now it's an investigation.
You're right. You know what I'm saying? About me playing on Lil Ron's Facebook page.
It's not an investigation on my behalf. I've never asked anybody to investigate. Never. Right. All I said was in the comments, was it that bad? Tennille in the comments like, yeah, it was super bad.
But once you start crying about it, then Maze is thinking about this like, okay, what if he say he getting harassed in the workplace and all this?
I never said anything more than that until May say it wasn't Herb. So after May said it wasn't Herb, so me and DJ already had, you know what I'm saying, a back and forth before. And I can play with y'all.
I had no idea about that. But I got 5 on DJ.
I'm no longer interested in what you're talking about. Tell me about you and DJ's previous back and forth.
Call DJ. Somebody call DJ.
Call DJ.
I don't play with everybody. I can play me, Herbert too, y'all, my big bros. I don't play with everybody the same. You know what I'm saying? And I already had a back and forth with you. So at this point, like, all right, so it really wasn't Herb. You know what I'm saying? And I don't play with everybody. So don't play with me if I don't play with you like that. So all I did was text him like, bro, stay off my Facebook page. I didn't say get off my shit. I'm gonna beat your ass.
You know what you also didn't say? Shit. You know what you also didn't say?
What?
Was you on my Facebook page?
I did it. But once you confirmed that it wasn't you, and Maze confirmed that it wasn't you, I jumped to conclusions. I jumped the gun.
Oh, yeah.
But look, he was already irritating me before that. All this even jumped off.
Now you're going too far.
Now you're going too far.
You
got to learn when to pump the brakes.
I bet. Bottom line, Ron wasn't mad, y'all. Ron did not make it a big deal. So when Herb came in here like, yeah, you man, you tripping. Like, I really didn't trip. My bosses probably made it seem like they tripped. I didn't really trip.
Okay.
So we already told you what's happening after the show, so it don't matter anymore.
We'll settle up on this in a little while, man. Anyhow, that was fun. I don't know how it turned into a big thing, but it did. But anyway,
I hope not. No hard feelings, nobody.
So I don't know. I wouldn't let you and DJ have a thing about it. That's not a real thing.
In the words of the great Frederick Douglass.
But DJ Show texted me. He sent me the screenshot of your message, and I'm like, wow. Oh my
God. Progress without struggle.
Right.
Now that we got that clear.
Now we got that good.
Let's get back on track.
We're okay, man. You all right, Ron?
Gucci.
Were you harmed?
Not at all, but I still got you when you least expect it, bro.
That's fine. You just tried to get me. I'm not going to say how you tried to get me because your daddy would be mad about what you did to try and get me.
See how we don't snitch on you?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It didn't work because I'm too smooth for that. But it was a nice try, though.
I think Sadiq helped you, though. He said, Sadiq mentioned it.
No, he did not. I swear to God.
Nah.
Did you do that for real?
Yes, he did it. Bro, he thought he could get me, G. But I'm too smooth.
I was wondering why he was in here so long.
I'm way too smooth. You can't, like, you got to wake up way earlier than that to get me on that.
That's funny, Rod.
I grew up in that house with 4 brothers. G. You can't get me, bro. I grew up in a house with 4 brothers. You can't get me like that, G. It's gonna take some doing. Good luck though.
I was thinking hard too, like, damn, what can I do?
You should just stop.
So what you gonna do when it ain't finished by tomorrow? Because it's not gonna be fixed by tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna put it back too. He gonna throw that cup of coffee on you.
You gonna be in real trouble now.
You gonna be in real trouble.
Oh, damn.
See, Cassie? Now Cassie's gassing this some more. You know what I'm saying? I think you should apologize, Herb. Good luck with that, Ron. Good luck with that apology, man. I was just playing with you.
We all good. Only certain people can play with me like that, though. You know.
Hey, I gotta cut that out too. I don't like that happen. I don't know what y'all think is, but that's gonna stop. But anyway, I don't want to have that conversation right now. Yeah, glad we got that out the way, man. But at like 11:30, 12 o'clock, yeah, I was gonna call you right. Come outside, bro. Just let's get this over with, cause you are wilding right now, sir. But Anyhow.
So look, Square acquires majority stake in Jay-Z's title for $297 million. How you feel about that?
Squared acquired what? Hey!
Majority stake.
What's up, DJ?
Majority stake in Jay-Z's title for $297 million. Jay done made like $600 million in the last...
This week. He's getting to it. You said Square did. Okay.
Which is the owner of Cash App. So they said the rapper will retain his stake in the music streaming business and join Square's board of directors as part of the title deal.
He's moving.
He's also was able to maintain like all of the smaller levels of equity ownership that the artists who originally bought in, they maintain that. I don't know how they maintain
That's good.
That, but they do.
Go Jay.
Is it Go Jay?
I just said it. Go Jay.
Or is black ownership more valid? Or is this more of the same? Is this more of the Oprah, old magazine, old network? Or just, black people don't really own these products and they can't afford to own these products? Is it Go Jay? Or is this a reference point to how poor we really are?
What you mean?
I mean, like, there's this illusion of ownership, right? And when you get to the core of most black ownership, you look at it and you realize that it's not ownership at all. It's usually licensing, right? Now, Jay did own title. $30 million was the original investment, if I remember correctly. Sold it for $297, right? But in the space, he doesn't even compare or compete with the leading streaming services, right? I think iTunes does something like 50 million.
Yeah, Tidal's expensive though.
Streams or something like that.
Yeah, Title's like $12.99 a month.
And it's not it's not a package deal, right? iTunes comes with the Apple phone, so it's a different thing. You know what I mean? And I think what's the other leading one?
Spotify.
Spotify. I think Spotify does like 150 million streams a month. Jay's
and
not
Pandora too.
Conversation. You know what I mean? So does it speak to our lack of real capital, or are we just champion Jay for keep getting money?
Yes.
For Jay to keep getting money is more important than black ownership, you think?
No, I'm saying yes, that's my answer to both. That's my answer in total to your whole question. Like, yes, it is that. It is both. I think that yes, it's a reflection of where we are financially in the capital. But also, Jay is making some good moves, bro.
He's making a lot of money for Jay, and I salute that. From a business perspective, that's great. And it's always interesting to me to see how we respond to these things, though, right? Because it's almost like you're concurrently serving two masters, right? And I get it. This is the ocean. This is the water. This is Sadiq talks about in the water. You got to learn how to navigate it. It just is what it is.
But the piece about him also making sure that those artists who invested in at a small level were able to maintain their stake in it. Stoked.
Well, I don't know if it's invested in at a small level.
Smaller.
Okay. Yeah. It mentioned Madonna specifically, and it mentioned Beyonce. I don't know who else made those original investments, but those were never like small artists, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was like people who was at the top of the tier.
Sure.
But what's that equity stake mean when they had them investments? What is their return on them investments? What is the goal in the space? How do you control and dominate the space? Right? We're moving into this space and place in America in general where I don't know if the value of ownership is the same or we're changing what ownership looks like. Right? You think about the largest cab company in the world is now Uber. They don't own one cab. You think about the streaming services in general, right? It's a record company at the end of the day. They don't have relationships with not one artist. You know what I mean? So what does ownership look like? YouTube being one of the largest media companies at this point. Yeah, they don't have any content creators. You know what I mean? Well, they do now, but they were birthed out of other people creating the content for them.
Exactly.
It just changes the understanding of ownership and what that looks like. And then what does it do to what black ownership looks like? I always had a fight of black capitalism won't save us. You know what I mean? But we seem to champion it at every turn.
Nah, I feel you on that piece. I understand. But we know that Jay's a capitalist. And so if that's the game he's playing, I'm just saying that he's making some good moves while he's playing that game. Like, if you decide that's the game you're playing, which clearly he decided a long time ago, well before he was famous, then play it. So I'm just saying he's playing it well.
Real quick, I want to spawn the RO double, and the thing just moved too fast for me to catch it. I got to try to catch it up.
She said, sounds smart to me. I love to have a business with no inventory. Inventory kills your business.
That's absolutely awesome, ROW. You're right. But it also kills society, right? The reason we've been able to survive is because of government. Be clear about that, right? So when you take that out of the hands of ownership, when you take the responsibilities of ownership out of owners' hands, it kills society. So when you're Uber and you have the largest cab company in the world without owning one cab,
okay,
the liabilities of said cab, don't respond. The liabilities of said cab is on the driver. The insurances of said cab is on the driver. There's no health insurance, it's on the driver. It creates what we call now the gig economy, right? And when that owner doesn't have to have any responsibility, all that falls on the worker. It's really just that. Everybody becomes an entrepreneur, but you're an entrepreneur for a larger service. It's a scam, right? I don't have to take on none of the responsibilities as an employer, still while being an employer. So, yeah, it's great from the people on the top, but for the people on the bottom, and on the bottom is where the balance has to be had. So, and I know this supersedes the conversation about Jay, but it does bring into purview the conversation of where our society is headed and why they don't need you in general, right? And we're further and further walking into the gas chamber as if it's okay. When they put up them employment numbers, they add Uber. But Uber doesn't pay you any employment insurance. You stop doing Uber today, you can't get done from it.
Right.
You know, there's no responsibility from Uber to his driver.
No, I feel you on that. Reese, that's funny. I'm the new guy on Wednesdays. But y'all cut it out, please. No more of that conversation. We'll chop it up later. You too, Ryan. Both of y'all. Please be cool. No, I feel you on that. I think that, again, what do you do with it, right? Money is a tool. If you're using it as a tool and if you're using it as a tool, then fine, right? If he's going to take his money, use it as a tool to do something good, then cool, right? But other than that, then I'm with you, right? But I think he can do some good things with his bread. Whether that looks like making more capitalist, right? Fine. If other people want to come and play that game and follow in his shoes, cool, right? But otherwise, I think that he could also do stuff in the community if he chooses to. And I think he does do a lot of good stuff. I don't know how much. I don't know exactly when, where, or how he goes about it, right? But all I'm saying is, if you're going to play that game, I applaud the way the man's playing it. I applaud the way Donald Trump plays the game. You know what I'm saying? This is a dude who there's been an illusion for my entire life that he's filthy rich, like uber wealthy, even though that's never really been a reality for him. He just understands how to play the game, how to manipulate the game, and how to leverage his celebrity. And he's done well. I'm not saying I want to play the game, but if you're playing it, I can certainly applaud that you're playing it well. I don't want to play tennis, right? But I can applaud how dope Serena is. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
So I think there's levels to this conversation, though. Right? And I think it's about values and what we value and about the goals of us as a people, right? So, yeah, you can applaud the way to get – I can applaud how well-designed the concept of capitalism is tied into the concept of racism and how they anchor each other in, and they create this paradigm where we essentially become the purveyors of our own oppression. I can applaud how well it's done, but I also, in understanding it, recognize that it's a virus to my people. I recognize that we will eventually succumb to it, and it will crush and kill us. Right? I can applaud how well it's designed, but as a opponent of said design, I have to find ways to break it. Now, going back to the statement that Beach always makes is you cannot revolt against that in what you love.
Sure.
I can acknowledge how well it was designed, but I do not love it. I think most of us respond to Jay's wealth in a manner of love. And it's that wealth or how he's obtaining said wealth, or not even how he's obtaining said wealth. He's just part of the same strategy that's essentially going to lead to our demise. I don't know if you can be service to masters. It just confuses me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on one rap, he says, you know, I'm Che Guevara with bling on. Can't be that guy. That's not who Che Guevara was. You can't be Che Guevara with bling on.
Right.
They're not the same person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I saw somebody with the head on Facebook.
It's the Barack Obama and Dr. King is the same person.
You can't have that, right? I saw somebody's Facebook head the other day. They had Che Guevara and Mansa Musa. It can't be that. You can't
be Che Guevara and the richest person to ever walk the face of the planet.
The same pathway,
right?
Because they have that at their core, they have different.
They have foundational
differences.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't serve two masters.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. I feel you on that completely. And yeah, I accept my I take accountability for how I view, you know, Jay and how I applaud his moves, right? Because I do understand what you're saying, and that is what that very system is what causes all of our ills. Then how can you apply anybody playing that game? I get it. I received that. Go Jay-Z.
See?
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Can't be a dope fiend and anti-drugs at the same time, man. Can't be both of them, G.
I feel you. And
we are addicted.
Mythical Scott Daddy ain't through with me yet, man. You working on it.
Mythical Scott Daddy don't exist, but he's the one who created this paradigm.
Hey, ain't that crazy?
Ain't that crazy?
He don't exist.
The whole foundation is a flaw.
I liked what you said about it the other day when you was like, how do you use Mythical Scott Daddy? All right, this figure who, if he were to be a real person, was very selfless, not about none of this stuff, right? And then you use him as the symbol of all things capital, right? Like separation of church and state everywhere, in school, in business, but on the money, in God we trust.
Because that's God.
Like,
and we prove it every day.
And this is a dude who would not be blinged out. He would not have a 200-foot yacht. He would not, you know what I'm saying?
None of that material stuff would matter.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The guy we hail up and worship would not have none of that stuff. But that's what we use him for. That's crazy. I think George Carlin says, God can do this and that, and he can do this and he can do that, but he needs a lot of money.
So Beauty's corrected me. She says in Jay's defense, he used the extended metaphor. Now it's moving again. Hold on.
She says
he used the extended metaphor. Where'd it go?
In Jay's defense, he used an extended metaphor too. He was painting a picture of an oxymoron with bling on. I'm complex.
Oxymoronic, absolutely.
Che Guevara with bling on. I'm complex.
I never claimed to have wings on.
I know the rhymes.
Yeah, I'm not an angel. I'm not an angel.
It's not about being an angel. It's about walking a path. Right? Jesus and Trump ain't gonna walk the same path. They don't have the same value sets. Right? Jay and Jesus ain't gonna walk the same path either.
What about Shay and Jay?
No. They're not, Yeah, the difference between those two are worlds apart. And that's kind of the complication with American life in general, right? I watched some of Don's show this morning, and they had the brother on. I can't remember the brother's name, but wrote the book on manhood and masculinity.
Right.
DeAndre what?
Dondre.
Yeah.
Dondre Whitfield.
Right.
Good. Got some good information. I'm going to read the book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the comments, and Ron pushed back on this statement. I saw you push back on it. And he said something like, he was talking about the difference between unconditional love and conditional love and going down the line, right? He worded it in a different way than I would word it, but we've had this conversation on Fridays before.
It says fashion, R-O-double. It says fashion.
And we've had these conversations on Friday before. He presents it in a way that's more palatable for the audience than I do, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of contradicting.
But it is contradicting because you can't be palatable. you got to be front facing with it. It just is what it is, right? So, and one of the things he said was like within transaction, within this, how did he break it down? He was like within transactional. He was like, no, he said unconditional love is a state of being. I think he said maybe.
Like unconditional love, yeah, it's like a state of, like you were saying, like it's a state of being and loving somebody through whatever hardships, even if they're hurting you. And he said once you start letting somebody hurt you, it's no longer unconditional love.
You have to have conditions, right? And I often wonder if the two can coexist. It's either gonna be conditional or not, and that's what Ron said. Even if somebody stabbed me, I can still
you have to
them.
still be able to.
I can still love them. You know what I mean? And he made an analogy to Ron, which was kind of not to knock the brother at all, and who knows how that was playing out, but it was a remedial statement. He was like, if he keeps stabbing you, then you got to bounce. But that doesn't play into the conversation.
That makes it conditional.
It makes it conditional, right? And the only reason I even bring this forward is because we always want it both ways. Just like Marlo and the Wire, all you think is this way when it's the other way. It's the other way. But we never give credence or acknowledge that it's the other way.
The other way.
Right? We've seeped our value fully in aspiration while living in muck. But we don't even recognize the muck because of how enamored we are with the aspiration. The aspiration dominates us when the muck is our reality. That's a sickness to me.
Yeah. And the fact that we're trying to find the cure in the very thing that is causing us to be sick, that's really where the issue is, right? Like we're trying to find the cure in the very thing that's killing us. It's interesting. It's interesting, for sure.
I know Black History Month just passed. I know that, right? And I know that we've made a dominant investment in this country and in this culture. I know that with all of that dominant investment in this history and this culture, with every generation, we're losing more and more of value in those investments while aligning ourselves more and more with capital gains of Black people. You saw that. I've seen that Jay-Z thing 12 times this morning. We just had 28 days of Black history, and I can't name 12 people who posted something around Black history. Not to say it didn't happen, but it wasn't as visible as, let's say, as this Jay-Z thing.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And when you think about the new generation,
we champion that though.
The younger generations. I saw Sister Soldier's interview on the Breakfast Club because she's releasing her second volume of The Coldest Winter Ever.
Oh yeah,
which I think is dope.
That is dope.
But she said something on there, and I thought it was relevant, man, because they talked about toxicity. And what Sister Soldier said, she said, in my opinion, the people who use the word toxic the most are usually the most toxic people.
Oh, for sure.
And she said something about the youth. And youth to her might be anything under 40, I would assume. You know what I mean? And she was like, I don't understand how they're going to learn. She said because they live in this space where they don't want to be judged around anything. They have no reference point for history, and they don't take constructive criticism. And they refuse to apply in judgment. You know what I mean? I thought that was a very interesting statement. You know, because it's real, right? She was like, I'm from the projects. She was like, not saying the projects is the premier place to be, but she was like, people spoke forthrightly to me and all my peers. And nobody broke down crying. You know, wasn't nobody going to lose their job for the tone in which they used in talking to us. You know what I mean? And I thought she had some really valid points. We're raising a generation of weak, dumb people. Right? And they're weak and they're dumb. And not only are they weak and they're dumb, but they're weak and they're dumb and won't even invest in the challenge. They won't challenge their ideas. And I don't mean that to be berating the youth.
Sure.
But it's how the culture's shaping up. Right? You can't even question my philosophy. Right? I watched y'all the Riz and whatchamacallit show last night. They had a whole conversation about someone with a plastic vagina. Right? And every statement about that, even though it was like light jokes, because that's the basis of their conversation. But they was like, live your life, no judgment from me. Then the very next statement was about a male ejaculating on a woman's stomach and licking it up. Then I know this is too much for our audience.
Yeah.
Right? But they made all these judgments about that person. Mm-hmm. You understand me? Mm-hmm. But the fake vagina got less judgment than that move. And I'm not saying either one of them is above judgment.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all.
I follow you.
You understand what I'm saying? But because of the implications of talking negatively or forthrightly around the plastic vagina, the person who got a vagina made, it has repercussions to that. It puts you in this judgment space.
I always thought boxes were cardboard.
Either way, you know what I'm talking about. But I just thought the dynamic was very interesting. It was a plight to make sure that they came off as not being judgmental of that lifestyle choice.
For sure. Because we dance around that a lot.
Right.
We walk on eggshells about that.
Right.
But when it's about us, we can't, you know what I'm saying? We're not afforded that same sensitivity.
It's interesting to me, man.
We haven't demanded it, though.
It's no judgment. It's no thought. It's very shallow. It's very surface. Can't challenge it. And it's all attached to no critical thinking.
Yeah.
How is that possible to go forward and bring forth something new to the generation, bring something new to the planet?
Yeah.
I don't see it as being possible. God damn it, Martin Luther King had a philosophy. Stokely Carmichael came and challenged that philosophy. Mm-hmm. And Martin Luther King changed that philosophy. Mm-hmm. This is one of the greatest thinkers of our time. Mm-hmm. And you think Julian went to school ass ain't worth challenge?
Right. No, everybody's beyond reproach. Nobody can be challenged. Nobody's idea can be, picked apart, if you will, evaluated for validity, because people are sensitive. And people want to hold on to their points. Even in the face of evidence to the contrary, people will hold on to their points. Never let a small thing like the truth get in the way of you winning an argument. Right? That's how people operate. And until we operate differently, I think you'll continue to see that kind of stuff. You'll continue to see, and I mean, when I say us operate differently, I mean, we have to move in a way that forces people to treat us with the same level of sensitivity that we treat the LGBTQ community, or we treat, whomever else it may be. Those are the types of things that we need to position ourselves to make sure that people understand us. We do it the complete opposite. Yesterday we were talking about how there is this need for us to comfort others when we're talking about black issues and the black plight. And we got to talk about it in a way that doesn't make others feel uncomfortable. To heck with that. Y'all need to be worried about how y'all make us feel. But, again, all credit to the LGBTQ community. They've made the moves. They positioned themselves for us to respond to them that way. So, unless we talk about all the time, bro. If you don't force it, you ain't getting it. Period.
But that community is made up of the same people that's in our community in regards to thought, right? So Cherie said something that I think is relevant. She said social media show me that these kids may be dense due to immaturity, right? But these adults are willfully dense on purpose because we like echo chambers and call anybody saying different is a hater. But either way, it's still avoiding challenge, right? And if you're not, just like I said earlier, I was making a joke when you was talking about what's going on with you and Lil Ron. Mm-hmm. One of Frederick Douglass's most famous quotes is, without struggle, there could be no progress. Mm-hmm. Well, that struggle is the challenge. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to challenge ideas. You know what I mean? So I just think it's very interesting, specifically around the time and the moment when we have a Fred Hampton movie launch, right? And if you know anything about Fred Hampton's politics, he was anti-capitalism, mm-hmm. right? And we'll praise that for the whole week that it's popular. Mm-hmm. And then they'll drop a article on Jay-Z making $287 million. Mm-hmm. Fuck what Fred was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, but you say it all the time, too. You be like, man, if Dr. King were here, right? If Malcolm X was here,
they'd be so irrelevant.
They nobody would give them the time of day because they have not ascended, the economic ladder. And because of that, then they must not be valuable. They must not be worth listening to. And it's like, are you out of your mind? Like, are you tripping right now? But yeah, we are tripping right now. You know what I'm saying? And we probably will continue to trip until we bust our head hard enough to do something else. Sometimes you just got to hit rock bottom. Now, how we haven't found the bottom yet, I don't know. We've become master survivors. And while we survive, we continue to aspire to advance in this game that we aren't really in. I was trying to explain to somebody on, I think I was on Clubhouse the other day. We was having this conversation, and it was talking about finances and access, whatever. And I was like, yeah, Oprah Winfrey ain't in the game. Like, the people that we look at as our top, the Oprahs, the Jay-Z's, even them, they aren't really in the game like that, financially, relative to Koch brothers, Bezos, you know what I mean? Gates, that type. They're not really in it like that. And this one sister was like, yo, Oprah is in the game. And I'm like, you missed what I said, love. Like, relative to the people that we aspire to, they are not in the game. But you can't tell somebody, like, Oprah got $1 billion. She's in the I hear you. Heard you, fam. Okay? Heard you. But our top is still their floor. If Bill Gates woke up tomorrow with Oprah Winfrey money, he'd jump out of effing window. That's an old Chris Rock piece. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you're missing it. But, I think that we don't see it in totality. We see everything in like these little bits and pieces. And we can't find a way to connect all the dots. And nobody really thinks they're the problem. One of my, favorite sayings is, no single drop of water thinks it's responsible for the flood. And, that is just a real, nobody thinks that they are the problem. It's this big old problem. How can it be me? It's everybody. No single drop of water thinks it's responsible for the flood, but here you are in the flood. You're flooding the spot. You know what I mean? So I think that we just kind of move that way as a people as well.
So there's a total of 15 black billionaires in the world. Mm-hmm. In the world, right? Out of that 15, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as being African American. Mm-hmm. The rest of them are Africans. Mm-hmm. Oprah has 2.6 billion. Mm-hmm. Let's put it like this: you add up all 15 of them,
right,
and combine all of their billions,
right.
Neither of them are a percentage of a Bezos, mm-hmm. or a percentage of the other guy, Microsoft guy,
Bill Gates,
mm-hmm. or even Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. Right? And those are just the 3 white billionaires I can name off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. So my point is, when you look at that, and then you start looking at the how the money's being made, and how the money matriculates back to our community, or if it does at all. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is that the fight is a confusing one. Mm-hmm. I don't see black capitalism as an answer for our community to really grow. Mm-hmm. And all I'm saying is that we need to challenge those thoughts at a different level. Mm-hmm. And I just always think it's interesting when, Jay does something, or Tyler Perry does something, or even Oprah mm-hmm. does something, and how we gravitate to the conversation as if it's a humongous deal.
For clarity's sake, where then does reparations help us?
It stabilizes us. What you mean? Does it has it into this conversation? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I understand how.
So if capitalism and us, making strides in capitalism or being successful in creating black capitalism, that's not our answer, then how then does reparations help us?
It stabilizes because we're at the bottom now. Mm-hmm. I never see it as a full-out answer to overcome our oppression. Mm-hmm. Never. Mm-hmm. It just stabilizes within the water we're in now because we're drowning in the water.
And gives us an opportunity to get to the real issues.
That's it. Right.
I knew what your answer was. I wanted to ask you that question so you can answer.
But I'm also looking at this list, like as far as like black billionaires, mm-hmm. right? Like in America, Robert Smith is the wealthiest black American, right? Mm-hmm. One who gave the mm-hmm. Morehouse money to the kids, right? He's at $5 billion. Mm-hmm. I would ask how many times, even if we really fully invested in the capital conversation.
Sure.
I would ask how many of us knew Robert Smith's name before Morehouse, right?
Yeah.
So even in the billionaire conversation, Tyler Perry's the lowest black billionaire on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z is next, right? Kanye is above him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But there's, out of the 15, there's 11 billionaires.
You said Kanye is above Jay-Z?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But there's 11 black billionaires who are not in the world of entertainment. Mm-hmm. I just wonder, if we was really vested in that conversation, why don't we have those conversations? Because how are they getting to the money? What are they doing different?
Yeah.
How does that money trickle down to the community, even with them? If there's really a value there. Mm-hmm. But see, the reason why the celebrities is the top of the conversation goes back to what Sister Soldier said today on the Breakfast Club. Nobody's invested in the information. Mm-hmm. It's a very shallow, kind of go with the flow ass philosophy when I don't see how you go with the flow when everything is set up against you. I can only see pushback. At least that's how my mind works. Mm-hmm. It just seems very difficult to just go with the flow when everything is working against you. No, we don't talk about them people because we really don't care about that either.
Well, we don't see the full picture. Let's take a break, but before we take a break, we got a guest coming up in the next hour, and it's actually our guest actually just popped in. So when we come back from break, we'll bring him on the show. But you want to let the people know what that piece is? Yeah, man, this is my little brother, man, Dilla Thomas, and he's becoming famous for creating history lessons on TikTok. He's doing big numbers on TikTok. He's getting a lot of attention nationally. He's done some interviews with the city. Just thought it was a dope thing he's doing, and I'm proud of him, man. So I wanted to talk to him and see how he's leveraging, because just as the conversation we just talked about, like, how do you reach people who are not based in even accessing information? Yeah. And if he's doing it on TikTok, then he's talking to a specific demographic, and I want to know how he's doing that. Super, super dope. We will be joined by Dilla on the other side of the break. This is I Said What I Said, Herb 2 till 6. We'll be right back.
WIFTDPM. Welcome to Inhale, Exhale, you guys. We're your health home girls, Dr. Tanks Lee and Danny Time. We are being joined today by a guest, Samantha Allen, who's going to work with us today about attachment styles. Preoccupied, anxious, that's more so a child that comes from a background where the parent or the caregiver was kind of all over the place. You didn't know what you were going to get, so you were clinging to them when you did have their attention, because sometimes I might have it, other times I might not. Because of that, it creates an anxiousness in the child, whereas when I get your attention, I want to hold on to it. I want to make sure, so I might cry when you leave, or I always want you around. I'm craving your attention. Mother-father relationship, the father passed away. Now the mother is over busy. She's working all the time. She doesn't have as much attention as she once had for the children. So now this created an anxious attachment style. Those adults grow up more, considered more clingy in relationships, always wanting attention or feeling like I need to make sure we're okay, fear abandonment, fear that we might be breaking up or you might be leaving me alone, so I might check in with you more often, I might call you more. I just need to be assured that everything is okay with our relationship. That anxiousness part is the anxiety of the relationship, of always thinking something might be going wrong. If I called you, you don't answer. Are you upset with me? What did I do? Let's figure this out. Let's work this out. You're always kind of on edge about where your relationship will go.
You get a piece of paper, write down the event, the thought, emotion, and then logic. So in this case, say that your boyfriend didn't text you back. Okay, that's the event. What is your thought? Oh, well, he doesn't care. What's your emotion? I feel unworthy. What's the logic? Well, maybe he's asleep. So you gotta do that. That's addressing some of the symptoms. But overall, you want to engage self-love and self-discovery, right? And just kind of reprogramming your subconscious.
G-Brooks exclusive. Hey, I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago. I pray we don't get lost in all our sorrow. I say I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago. We don't know if we gon' let us see tomorrow. No. 52 wounded, 10 murdered in a weekend. homicides on women are increasing. 12 blinking at us for no reason. Feel like we going off the deep end. They still ain't found Kiara Cole. Reported missing about a year ago. And she was pregnant with a little one. Her family praying for a miracle. Taxi van Kanika ain't get no justice. Where the energy they have for Jussie Smollett. I done heard every theory, but where the suspect? Ain't no luck, yeah. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago.
Welcome back. We are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. This is I Said What I Said on this glorious Thursday afternoon. Hope you all are doing quite well out there. Thank you all so much for choosing to be a part of the conversation today. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to everybody that's watching on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that's watching on YouTube or wherever else you may be watching. If you are here in Chicago like we are, or you are perhaps across the ocean like Miss Deb is. Wherever you find yourself, we hope you find yourself doing well, and we certainly appreciate that you've chosen to be so generous with your time and hang out with us and contribute to this important conversation. We think it's the blackest conversation in the country, and so therefore it is only right that we are now joined by the great historian, S. Dilla Thomas of Mahogany Tours. Dilla, thanks for taking the time, brother. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Absolute pleasure to have you, man. Tu said this is an important conversation that we wanted to have, so I'm certainly looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, word up. I'm excited to get my message out to a lot more people. And I really shouldn't say my message because it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I just want to give history a better spotlight.
Dilla, tell the people what you're doing, man, first off, and explain to the audience like how you got engaged in history first too.
Okay, that's a bit of a loaded question. I guess now what I'm doing is I'm disseminating Chicago history facts and different type of stories in 60-second TikTok videos. I'm getting ready to expand that into maybe 5-minute YouTube videos. I got started because I guess like everybody else, my kids are on TikTok. You try to do the best you can to control like what they're ingesting, what's on the phone. Best way to do that is to be involved. To don't just say no. Pick up the phone and look and see what they're getting into, and see why it should be no. So I did that. My baby wanted to do like all the dances. Some of them border like on the inappropriate side for an 8-year-old, So I convinced her, I was trying to convince her for us to do history facts. I was like, if you want to stick out, you want people to notice you online, let's do history facts. She didn't dig it. I did want to encourage her, and compliments are kind of addicting. So I kept doing them. As far as my love of history, I'm sure I'll be preaching to the choir to both you guys. I consider myself like a solid Chicago guy. I got a very solid Chicago pedigree. My father was a Chicago police officer for 30 years. And even just saying that, right, for someone to have been a cop for 30 years and never get promoted means he was politically active, means he was involved in trying to enhance the life of black police officers. My mother went back to school late. But she's the oldest graduating class president in Chicago State nursing history, right? My brother Terrence, as a junior college student, rewrote the African American study curriculum for the program he was in because he thought it sucked. So coming from that, I think I'm pretty well resourced to be a historian.
That's super dope, brother. Give us a little history about yourself. Where'd you go to high school at in Chicago, Dilla?
Man, I went to Calumet High School. I'm a product of that zero tolerance movement of the 90s. I don't know if you guys recall, that was their answer to getting rid of problems and thugs, right? So if you did anything after your 16th birthday, they put you out because they already had got the public school money for you. So I went to Calumet, I got put out, and then I went to Olive Harvey Middle College, which I would credit with saving my life.
What's Olive Harvey Middle College? That's like an alternative high school?
Yes, sir. Thank you for saying that. It's not a charter school. I don't want to get started on charter schools in Chicago today. But so, yes, Olive Harvey Middle College was one of the first alternative high schools set up in Chicago, set up in what they call like ASN, Alternative School Network. Benjamin Mays out of Kennedy King is one of them. Prologue out of Truman College is one of them. So, yes, an alternative high school led by a lady who recently passed away from COVID, Helen Hawkins. it was just an amazing program. We went on black college tours. Lived in Chicago my whole life and didn't know about black theater, ETA. Through that school, you got to meet Tamil Black and Margaret Burroughs. So it was an excellent program. From there, I went to Eastern Illinois University, majored in English, African American Studies. I thought I was going to be a teacher, but then I started having babies and I needed to work. And now I work for ComEd and historian on the side.
So I asked that question on purpose, man. I wanted to validate your Chicago history, right? And I think that's so important in regards to what you're doing. Coming from Calumet and then going to the Olive Harvey Alternative School, this is not common in what's produced out of those institutions. You know what I mean? Or maybe it is common, we just don't shed light on it. It's the same light I went to Dunbar. You know what I mean? And I know that Dunbar doesn't have the allure of, let's say, a Young, like Herb went to, even though I don't think Young is pretty much shit. But,
it's just mandatory when somebody mentions Whitney Young, the hate just has to fly. It just comes out. Nobody got to say nothing about you. I went to Whitney Young. Continue.
No, I'm just saying, but those institutions don't get that same kind of honor and respect amongst us, right? But I think it's important that brothers like Dilla who do come from the schools like Calumet or the Olive Harvey Alternative School kind of represents in this space. TikTok. Tell us more about TikTok, Dilla, because I'm not into TikTok. I know my daughter does it.
Y'all got to get on it, man. The thing about, every couple years they roll out a new app that we got to get on, and we probably got too many apps. It's too much of a distraction anyway. But the beautiful thing about TikTok is it's really, really geared towards you. Now, we know the phones are stalking us, but TikToks, you can do 15, 30, or 60-second videos on whatever. The app is very user-friendly, so you can do a lot of editing in-app. And what I try to do is paint complete Chicago historical stories in 60 seconds. I find it, even trying to get your children to listen to you talk for more than a minute and a half, people space out on you, right? Even my favorite, YouTube blogger or interview, if I'm not like intently focused after a minute or two, I space out. I got to rewatch the interview anyway. So I'm trying to spark curiosity in 60-second videos on TikTok.
Do you upload them to like Instagram or Facebook as well?
I do. I am on Instagram at 6figure FIGGA _Dilla. And please play one. You know what you should play? Play Chicago, Wisconsin. It's on my Instagram. It was recently posted. Just little. It's amazing for me. Again, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. But I can historically prove that everything dope about the United States come from Chicago. And we don't get any of that credit, right? We don't get any of that credit. They say Harlem Renaissance. Well, New York was a really, really strange place to grow academically, and they didn't let African Americans go to upper level schools, right? But you could go to University of Chicago in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s and get a PhD. Now, you might have to take night classes and you couldn't live on the dorm, but you could get that degree. And it was with those skills that people went to New York to start, Harlem Renaissance, or even a Harlem Globetrotters. Like, that didn't start in Harlem. Like, they started at Wendell Phillips High School on 39th Street.
True story. Quick question, just want to clarify some things. Everything dope came from Chicago, or everything dope black came from Chicago?
I think you can go both ways. I think you can go both ways. Chicago, just on the American standpoint, right? Every what we would call big city or great city was something else before it was American, right? New York was something else before it was an American city. Then the American Revolution happened. Same thing with Boston. Same thing with New Orleans, right? We got Miami Lake, like everything, right? Los Angeles was already Mexican culture, right? The Texas states already had a culture. Chicago was blank, other than, the natives, right? I'm not disrespecting their culture. I'm saying Western wise, there was nothing. We were the first new shiny thing that America could build on. Every railroad led into Chicago and led out. We set the time standard, right? Eastern time zone, Central time zone. Here in Chicago, other places get recognized for cooking. But before it was airplanes, those spices had to come through boat or train, and the easiest place to pick them up from was Chicago. So that's why we right now have the best cooks, just because they had the best palate to choose from, So I would answer both ways. And then especially black, don't get me started. Everyone in fire is from Chicago. Top that.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
I'm having a hard time getting your computer over here too. Maybe undo it and resend it over here because I can't pull it up. I see it, but it's not allowing me to access it. So we can play one of those videos. Dilla, what was the thing that sparked you? Was it just kind of like your upbringing that's always, had this mind towards history? But what was that sparked you to say, okay, it's not enough for me to be a great historian. I need to get that out to the masses. And then is there any intentionality about the demographic that you're trying to reach?
Yes, to the second question, absolutely. I'm trying to reach. I think every couple generations you get like a new historian, right? And the good ones reach the people where they find them, So at some point, speaking on albums was considered the devil, and the good historians of that time frame started to disseminate their messages, at the medium available to you. So to that point, right? No disrespect. I love what the young rappers are doing. Let me mute that car. I love what the young rappers are doing. I love anybody that starts from nothing and is able to pull themselves and their families out of something. But we call 64th and King Drive O Block, right? That's what, anybody outside of Chicago call it, and that's what we call it. That is Herman Moore's road show is what that is, right? We say things like, I want to own the block. I run the block. The block is mine, right? I run the block. These are words we commonly use. Herman Moore owned everything, both sides of the street, 63rd, 64th, 65th. What we know as the route was the Herman Moore Road Show, and that was the only place black entertainers could sleep. So before Neighborhood Covenants, yeah, absolutely. What we know as the route was a historic. Herman Moore owned, I keep saying the wrong name, that's why my brain goes. Herman Roberts is the brother's name. I apologize. He passed away last year. But Herman Roberts owned the route. He was the proprietor of the route. That our generation will know where we went to party on Saturdays, and it had to be turned into the route.
Was the spot, Jack.
that hotel that's right there on King Drive. Yeah. He owned both sides of the street where the Brothers Church is now. He literally, I don't let things come out of my mouth I haven't fact checked. He owned both sides of the street. He owned another motel on Michigan, 35th in Michigan. And it was because when black entertainers, the Duke Ellisons, the Lou Armstrongs, whoever, they came to Chicago, they could perform at clubs, or what we call tan clubs. They couldn't sleep downtown. So they had to come stay at his motel. And so if you're going to name a set, why not call it Herman? You know what I'm saying? Like if we're going to, we all know about redlining and what happened to Bronzeville. But if you check historical records, buildings were being built during that time. Some of them owned by blacks. Well, how is that if we couldn't get HUD mortgages? Well, the number runners were the only people around in the hood who had some money. Right. And that's where you got your 20% from. So we're going to name something and, forget naming it Capone or whatever, like name it the Davis Boys, name it after Ted Rowe. So I just think those stories need to be told. Like if you're going to get a rapper name, it's black, like Bump J, right? He picked a New York guy, but there's, we got a guy named Mushmouth Johnson. His sister, he was what we would call a guy in them streets, right? His sister ended up being the first African-American woman to graduate from the University of Chicago. Now, how were they letting her in at that time? It's money he getting out the streets. Right. And so I am targeting that demographic to let them know this history is still pertinent to you. And I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but if you it's like film, right? If you watch film of the team you playing, the plays they typically run, and you got a better chance of winning. And so that's definitely become a part of my mission. And I know I'm long-winded. I apologize. And that's
what you're here for, brother. We asked you to come on so you can talk. Go ahead and talk.
I've been fighting my whole life like that I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? That I don't want to do nothing but hang with my kids and read books. And it took till I was 40 to accept that because of being a nerd. You know what I'm saying? It took forever. I spent my whole life trying to be cool and hard. You know how awkward that is?
I know how awkward it can be.
you stick out. I tell my wife all the time. She say you ain't scared of nothing. I say because when you're the tall dude in the group, you get hit first. And so a lot of that coming up. But I being in places I had no business being. So I also want to show that you can disseminate history, you can read books, you can be a nerd, and you can be cool.
I want to challenge that narrative, Dilla. I want to challenge that narrative, G. I think we need to redefine what cool is, though. I don't think you had no business being in them places. I think you were supposed to be in them places, just like I was supposed to be in them places, because it makes you relatable, right? It makes your truth relatable.
Okay.
And I think that's where we lose at. That's part of the narrative we're trying to create here in this room, right? That's why we curse on the show. It's the old narrative from L Boogie from Lauryn Hill. We add a motherfucker so the ignorant niggas hear me. Don't mean that my message don't have less value. Right. You can be from that block. You can run with that set, and you can still be interested in reading books.
It's necessary.
Just like you was, just like I was.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
We just need to change the narrative. You know what I mean?
It's that the totality, the whole package. It's all of your experiences that makes you then be authentic and relatable and able to speak about O Block, but also speak about Herman Robert, who, as I sit here right now, I was, today years old when I found out who Herman Robert was. You know what I mean?
Right.
So even part of the appeal for Dilla for me, right? Dilla went to school with me, right? He went to Eastern with me, much younger than me, so he was probably a freshman as I was leaving.
Which says a lot about how long you spent in college, but go ahead.
Yeah, but he was probably he just looked good for his age. That's all that is.
But, thank you.
But he was probably a freshman when I was leaving. Didn't know much about Dilla, saw him online. I mean, I knew he went there. But I would read his stuff online, and I was intrigued by him. But even more than that, he called me on some of my bullshit, which made me give him more respect than I would give to the average.
You like when people call you out?
I do.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I do, because most people are shook. They're scared.
No, I'm just playing.
You know what I mean? So
tough. He a tough cookie. I try to give him his flowers when I can. He doesn't let you have weak thoughts. And normally that's something you reserve for your friends, right? Or people you hang with, you know on the daily, right? Like you say, I'm a freshman. He's probably a junior or a senior. He's a cool guy, so he holds court where he go, right? He commands a presence. And so you're naturally drawn to those people. You want to speak to those people. Boy, he was a tough guy to get to know. He has a very hard exterior. But you can tell it comes from a great place. And so the same way he challenges me to look at another perspective, I try to do that with him sometimes. He's such a tough guy,
I respect it, man.
I'm finna punch him in his throat if he keep on with these doggone sunflower seeds. God,
we want to play one of these videos, brother. Which one did you suggest?
He said play the Chicago, Wisconsin one.
One said Chicago, Wisconsin. It should be about a couple days old.
We finna let it rock right now. You got me over there?
I got it playing. I can't hear it, but I couldn't hear the intro video earlier either.
Mississippi has to do with Chicago not being in Wisconsin. All right, so Mississippi was admitted into the Union in 1817 as a slave state. So back then, it was kind of like it is now. There was always a fight to see who was going to control Congress. So northern congressmen needed to add a northern free state. You got to look closely there, but this is a map of the original Illinois border, and as you can see, the northern boundary stops at the southern tip of Lake Michigan. Rockford.
I don't know what that music is.
That's Ron.
Illinois didn't have enough people.
It's on your laptop.
No, it's not Ron.
It must be with that video, because when I turn that video down, that sound goes with it.
That video has a sound
to qualify for statehood, but it also gave them access to the ports on the Great Lakes. Chicago became Illinois' economic engine, and the rest is history.
All right, so we're gonna rerun it.
Slavery in Mississippi have to do with Chicago not being in Wisconsin. All right, so Mississippi was admitted into the Union in 1817 as a slave state. So back then, it was kind of like it is now. There was always a fight to see who was going to control Congress. So northern congressmen needed to add a northern free state. You got to look closely there, but this is a map of the original Illinois border, and as you can see, the northern boundary stops at the southern tip of Lake Michigan. Rockford and Chicago were all part of the Wisconsin territory. Illinois didn't have enough people to qualify for statehood, so the Illinois delegation suggested that the northern boundary be moved 51 miles north. That move gave Illinois the population it needed to qualify for statehood, but it also gave them access to the ports on the Great Lakes. Chicago became Illinois' economic engine, and the rest is history.
All right.
Quick question.
So
what does
So Dilla, I got you on the fascinating information that again I was today years old and I realized that Chicago used to be in Wisconsin.
Word.
I appreciate that piece. I missed the connection about slavery in Mississippi.
Okay, so that's this was before the Kansas got admitted to the Missouri Compromise, right? So Mississippi got admitted as a slave state. So that means they were going to get two senatorial votes, right? Mm-hmm. And if senators were to vote for things, the South and Southern senators would have the power. So before Mississippi became a state, it was equal with free states and slave states,
right,
representing in the Congress.
Right.
When Mississippi became a state, they got the power. So the northern people said, hey, we got to pick whichever one was next. We got to hurry up and get us a free state. Oh, and okay. We didn't have enough people for statehood.
I'm with you.
So they stole us. The original Wisconsin border is 71st Street. So everybody that's born south of 71st Street would originally be from Illinois, and everybody north of 71st Street would be from Wisconsin. So I think that messaging is important just to show you that Chicago been on bull from the beginning. You know, we get this message in the news like now, today in 2021, Chicago is this violent place. Yeah. Our first murder happened in in April of 1812. Like before we were anything, the guy
was killers.
I talked to him. Yeah, better stated. So we all know John Baptiste Point du Sable, the first non-white settler. He sold his land to a guy named John Kinsey. Kinsey was acting as an agent for a Canadian. Kinsey said, I like this Chicago shit. I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
Lalime was the agent's homie. They all worked for the Canadian agent. They were at Fort Dearborn. Kinsey and his homies was stealing and doing all kind of shit. Lalime said, hey, I'm finna snitch. They killed Lalime. They fled to Wisconsin. A couple days later, the Fort Dearborn massacre happened. And so they never could take Kinsey to trial. Everybody that was alive got killed by the Indians. Kinsey came back to town a month later, and for 20 years, we celebrated him as the father of Chicago, right? You got the Kinsey Street Bridge, Kinsey Street, Kinsey Chop House, Kinsey Bridge downtown. Yeah. You know what I mean? The only reason we even know about John Baptiste Point du Sable is because John Kinsey's daughter kept a diary with nothing to do, right? They didn't have no social media back then, so she kept a diary every day. And John Kinsey never made any mention that he bought land from a black guy. He acted like he was Chicago Dundada. Right. Her diary, found by historians later, was how we were able to backtrack and find out about DuSable. So, you know, who knows those stories, right? People older than me, and so I'm just trying to get them out.
Not many. Wow. Not many people older than you know that story.
Not many people older than you, younger than you, same age as you. Like, that's dope information, brother. And thank you so much for dropping it and for finding it important to share with other people, man. That is fire information. I am absolutely loving this conversation. Good brother Shaka said, Dilla is our Dr. Henry Louis Gates, ADOS history. Speak on it. Man, that's dope, brother. You are absolutely phenomenal. Nah, man, that's accurate and well deserved, man. You are super dope, man, for doing that, and then for wanting to get it out and make sure that people understand it. That is so fire, man. I want to ask you right here in front of everybody. Can you come on like once a week and just do a Chicago history piece?
Man, I would love that. I would send it to you guys early. You let me know. That's my biggest problem. I come across so much information and I think everything is cool. So even if I don't get to make the TikTok or I don't put it on my Instagram, I would love to just be able to get it out. I'm day in and day out, I'm fascinated about the stuff I learned about Chicago. You know, right now, NASCAR. Where do you think auto racing started? Where do you think maybe not the world, but America's first auto race happened? Chicago.
In Talladega.
Had to start on Halsted. Had to be on Halsted.
Man, running from somebody right here in the city, right?
Drag race in South Chicago on 79th.
You know, the world's first national bowling championship. Here, it goes on and on. You go down to New Orleans. I was just there with my wife, and I'm looking at the architecture. And anything built in America after 1908 is designed in the Chicago School of Architecture. If they downtown look like anything, it's only because they got a building that look like ours. You know, I think that sense of civic pride, obviously, because I disseminate Chicago history, there's always going to be criminals. There always has been criminals. But even like how our gangs go, and what no one ever talks about, right? We the people I'm speaking to presently are probably very much aware of the origins of how, GD or Stone was started, right? It's neighborhood protection type of joint. So a vice lord, same thing with Crips and Bloods. But no one ever speaks to before that and why, particularly here in Chicago. So we had money in the hood with the number running. And a guy named Ed Jones went to jail. He got locked up with Sam Giancana. Sam Giancana was getting roughed up in Indiana jail. Ed Jones helped him out. They become cool. Ed Jones being a talkative brother, kind of like myself. The mob had been trying to take over Chicago number running for 20 years. They could never do it because they couldn't figure out the system. But this guy, Ed Jones, who was a top number running guy, was locked up with Sam Giancana for 7-8 years. And he was thinking he was making him some Italian friends. So he laid out the whole thing of how he runs. He got let out of jail. I don't want to get the date wrong. So approximately, he got out of jail like June 1st. He got out of jail June 1st. They kidnapped him June 2nd. Held him for $100,000 ransom. Told him call all your bosses and tell them that number running now belongs to us and leave town. And that's what he did. He fled to Mexico, with the exception of a guy named Ted Rowe. But here's why that's important. Before the mafia took over number running, you needed smart criminals. You needed criminals that could outthink the police. You needed criminals who could hide the number running slips. You needed criminals who could talk themselves out of getting police brutality done to them on the way to drop the money off, or to be smart enough to say, hey, Mr. Officer, here's the cut, because it's smarter to pay him now than to deal with him later. Right. But after the mob started killing us, what did you need? You need thuggier criminals. Right. It's no longer needed for somebody who would think to say, I'm not going to shoot in this crowd because there's ladies here. This is going to make problems for me. Now, you needed somebody that didn't think. You need soldiers now who don't think. And here's the result, right? What happens later when you have organizations solely run with soldiers and you have less of a need for the thinkers? So just those kind of weaving the string together on how we get here, I think is very important.
Super, super dope. So how did you say it was going to get you on once a week? You said you're gonna make a video, or
how would you guys tell me to, man? I'm all
so. I mean, listen. If you able to find a 15-20 minute segment out your week that you can come on any day that works for you, we'll make it work for us. If not, then you're gonna record it or whatever it is, and then we can just play it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
What you got in your head is way too dope, man. We want to be able to share it as many places as possible.
I hope my wife is listening that you guys said what's in my head is dope, but she don't think so.
I don't want that smoke, brother.
she tending not think so.
And we want to support you in any way we can, though, bro. We think what you're doing is vital to the growth of our community.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm looking so forward to. I'm a little nervous, but in June. I want to launch maybe June 19th, Juneteenth, or that weekend, and start to do in-person tours. We're trying to figure out now what the COVID restrictions going to be and how many people can be on the bus and what social distancing is.
I just did a happy birthday. Me about that, man. Yeah, because look, we got something going on Juneteenth called Black Culture Week. It's an event we started last year. We're getting support from the mayor right now.
I was just going to say, I just did the Happy Birthday Chicago TikTok for the mayor. She shared it on her Twitter. It's on her Instagram story right now. So I proposed to them to let me, with their support and a little bit of their financial help, do a highlight of all 77 community areas. You got people that live in Inglewood and don't know even why the name is Inglewood, for starters. I think one of the things that I remember this day, and this is how much respect I got for Two. This is the first time I ever impressed Two. I was behind him a couple years in school.
No pushback.
Following him on Facebook. First time I ever impressed him, and I have tried. I was the first person to tell him who Frank Gillespie is, right? Gillespie School is right there on 92nd Street, right off of the expressway. And I guarantee you generations of people have graduated from Gillespie and don't know who he is. And it's a crying shame. It's an indictment on us. It's an indictment on the schools. But he's the first. Frank Gillespie opened Supreme Liberty Life Company. And again, we talk about redlining a lot, segregation and integration a lot. And we talk about the problems of it. We don't talk about the people we're trying to help. Frank Gillespie and Supreme Liberty Life Company, if there was a mortgage out there in the hood. It was backed by Supreme Liberty Life Company. White people wouldn't insure us. You needed to have like the greatest job on earth, and your premiums were going to be higher than everybody's to get life insurance, right? We know what that does for generational wealth. Supreme Liberty Life Company was the first life insurance company open north of the Mason-Dixon line and solely owned by blacks. You know, it's like Freeman Hospital in Howard. That was the first black hospital, but it wasn't solely opened by us, right? And in Atlanta, they opened a black life insurance company, but it wasn't solely opened by us. It was, some white dudes getting some money to open something. Frank Gillespie and them opened it all by themselves, And what did Supreme Liberty Life Company back mortgages? They backed John H. Johnson when he wanted to start a magazine company. Like that place was pivotal. A bigger corporation bought them out in the 90s, but they were around for almost 100 years.
Man, that's dope information, man. You just a walking encyclopedia. Like just spewing all these facts off the top, off the dome. Absolutely love it, brother. Listen, if you don't have any more questions, I'm gonna let them go. But
man, I just want to thank you for coming on, brother. And again, I want you to know that I'm here to help in any way I can, man. And also that, history essentially informs the present and the future. Mm-hmm. And the less informed we are about it, the more inclined we are to make the same mistakes. Mm-hmm. Same conversation I was just having before Dill even got on the air with the youth, specifically kind of being so kind of disconnected and so sensitive that you can't even challenge them on nothing, and they kind of shallow. I think we need to find ways to open up this conversation for everybody. Even around the gangs and the number runs and the way he communicates is important, right? And it fits our format. And again, I don't want to minimize the value of what he's saying, and it's not just for the youth, even though he's mastering TikTok or whatever, it's being disseminated. Yeah. Our audience needs this too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we appreciate you, man. I know you were saying you feel like you're preaching to the choir, and we say that often here, and I find extreme value in preaching to the choir. I think it is imperative that the choir is informed about everything we need to be informed about and on the same page, so that then we can disseminate that information out to the rest of the congregation. Most of the people that we talk to on a daily basis are of like mind, in that they understand there's some problems, and in some way or shape or form they are trying to solve those problems. And so, but even with them being of like mind, it's imperative that we get on the same page, and so that we are sharing the same information and moving in the same direction, man. So we appreciate you coming and preaching to the choir. You are welcome here in the pulpit anytime you want.
Man, my favorite
give your TikTok handle too, bro.
Yeah, I'm at TikTok, and dang, I wish we'd had to speak to that, but at 6figure FIGGA _Dilla, 6FIGGA _Dilla. I picked that name. My manager is really mad at 6figure. Right? I've been on a couple news conferences like WGN. And when white folks try to say 6figure Dilla, they get real close to 6. But he ain't very happy about that. But this is why I picked it. I'm an area operator for the utility company here in the city. It's a trade, right? I'm in the IBEW. And another thing that is missed on our people is that if you go on a trade, you go to work on time every day, and you just a little okay with your hands, you can make 6 figures, and you ain't got to have no kind of degrees or nothing. And so that's another thing. I love when people ask me, why is that my name? Because I'm Dilla, and I make 6 figures. And one, that ain't a whole lot of money anyway. So let's start talking about that a little more.
We talk about that every day.
And two, it's obtainable money if you know where to go get it.
Real spill, my brother. I am a huge fan of yours, brother. Like I'm thoroughly impressed with you as a man, as a person, as a brother, as a thought leader. Thank you so much for being alive. We appreciate you,
man. Thank y'all. I appreciate this platform. I'm on Instagram too at 6figure _Dilla. You can find me there as well. All the support, I would appreciate it. I ain't getting paid. I want to leave this earth as a historian, and that's my payment.
Yeah, but we want to get you paid too, brother. Don't never say that out loud. You want to get paid. You understand me?
I do, man. That's the other part why I need brothers like y'all to make sure that the people wear their hearts on their sleeves like me do get compensated. Because like I said, I legitimately just want to be a historian.
Yeah, that wealth of knowledge that you have should translate to a wealth of resources. finances. So absolutely, man. Again, thank you so very, very much for taking the time, brother.
Hey,
the
thank
door is
y'all.
always open.
Y'all.
We'll work it out and figure out how we can keep.
I'm gonna touch down with you.
Yeah, I'm thinking of what's my first fact gonna be for y'all right now.
Bet it up, my brother. Just let us know, and it is done. We appreciate you. His name is S. Dilla Thomas. Dilla, thanks for the time, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Anytime. That was super, super dope. I enjoyed every second of that right there, too.
Yeah, Dilla's a cool young brother, man. I really like Dilla, man.
Indeed. That was
one
fire.
of the cues, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fire, man. That was really, really fire. That's a good one, too. Nice job.
Man, you know, Eastern Illinois University, man. We produce some of the best talent Chicago's ever seen.
Panthers in the building. Shout out to the Chuck. I spent some time in the Chuck, man.
Me too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I spent some time in Carbondale, too.
Yeah.
I got a record down there.
If you've been to Carbondale, you got a record. Everybody get arrested down there.
Not that kind of record.
Spent my whole life on the south side of Chicago. Never got arrested. Got through college. Arrested.
Eula, that's dope. I'm going to put them on. You were absolutely right.
A lot. No, that's fire. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more conversation on the other side. This is I Said What I Said. Herb and Two for another hour or so. We'll be right back.
WIFTBPM.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out chicagolegalnetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
WIIFTBP, media's just for you and me. WIIFTBP, media's just for you and me.
Parenting in a Pandemic, powered by the Chicagoland Mom Squad, hosted by me, Tennille Jackson. Today's guest will be Beulah McLeod. It's not 2021 that this is getting fixed. Focus on your child and let's figure out what's going to work individually for you, but respect that people are making for them and don't shame them for them.
Everybody makes different choices for different reasons, and you don't know what somebody's situation is. And equity is not giving everybody the same thing. Equity is giving everybody what he or she needs to be successful. If you want to do remote should be high quality. If you want to come back, it should be high quality. It's not necessarily about the mode of delivery. It's about what is the quality level of any of those particular modes. We have to have empathy. Right now, I can see the teachers' argument. A lot of them are scared. I get that, right? I get the parents' argument. Everybody experiences that level of, I don't know how to help my baby with this thing. So parents are frustrated. We gotta just try to see each other's perspective, and I don't think we do enough of that. I think we get locked into our own viewpoint. This is what I think, and that's just it, and that's why we can never get to a solution. We need options, because everything is not gonna be good for everybody.
Look, feel me whether you like it. My talent disrupts the balance of malice, cause I'm a titan. When writing thunder and lightning, I'm Adrian with the Vikings. I'm Reggie Bush in New Orleans, a future lion. Fuck who compliant. Niggas complacent, they place in places they hate, cause the chance of a clean escape was as small as a wheel on skates. But I'm focused, cause I done got some real blessings. Remember, I'm from the hood, so I done learned some real lessons about bitches and how they fake, niggas and how they bitches consume with their own emotions, confusing friends with the soldiers. I'm human, so Lord forgive them. They know not what they doing. My original sin to give them 4 shots till they ruin. Then I'm back to my family, back to chasing this Grammy. I'm back to the old E, yeah, back to the old me. Don't get it conflicted. My my sense of meaning to listen, to balance the time restrictions. So balance the time that's given, not given. So don't abuse it, I take it back and you lose it. Cause giving these cool acoustics, I give you more than you used to. So my job's completed, cause once I spit, I'm depleted. Perfection's a large cost, imagine what I've deleted. I'm great. Niggas ain't used to lyrics and spirit, it drive me cuckoo. Cause all I hear is the boo-boo. How they rockin' designer, driving whips that was foreign, ignoring the real fact. Them raps is real whack, they lack sensible knowledge. They like a shoe, never polished. Attention was 3 dimensions and only 2 for a novice. Wasn't shit without the 3. You niggas is Craig Hodges, collages, or garbage rappers. They stuck, but they hardly trappers. I'm back.
WIFTVPM.
I was made for this. I was raised for this. I was made for this. I was raised for this. I was made for this. I was raised for this.
Yeah, my name is Eli. Yeah. E to the L-I. No, I don't tell no L-I. Please don't let me say why. I'm honest, to be honest, I'll be turned back.
We are back and we are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. His name is Toussaint. My name is Herb, the brother behind the glass doing all of the hard work in the production studio, and was absolutely wilding in the comments last night on In the Zone. His name is Ron Rilla. Ron, what's up, my brother?
Fruity.
What's going on, y'all?
Ain't nothing to it, man. Ain't nothing to it. Every time you play that BE song, that I'm Back, I like it more and more, G. That thing is fire. He said something about attention is 3 dimension, but only 2 for a novice. Then he said something about
about the 3.
He said without the 3, you ain't shit. You niggas is Craig Hodges. Like, that thing was fire, fam. Like, he put so much into that. He got another set in there that says something about a time continuum, about something about my minutes, and it's, I don't know. I had to listen to it a whole bunch of times to catch any of it.
That's one of them tracks that's got to be the intro or the outro.
Yeah, it's the first track on that album.
It got to be intro.
It's the first track on that album, and he blacks out on that joint. Shout out to BE for that track, man. That thing is fire. Like it a lot. Anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with us here on this Thursday edition of I Said What I Said. Just wrapped up a really, really, really dope interview with S. Dilla Thomas. He is a Chicago historian of the absolute highest order. Wasn't familiar with the brother too, but he is
authentically from the hood, authentically from the South Side.
The genuine article.
The genuine article. You know, a Q for those who care about that. Mm-hmm. Just an all-around good brother, man. And I want to support him in any way I can. And I also think he's dynamic in the sense that he's making his work on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the struggle. Is like, how do you get this information? How you disseminate this information to a generation of people
who otherwise wouldn't get it,
don't care to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, no, he is dope. I am a big fan of the brother. I love the man. I met him 30 minutes ago. He's fire. He's fire. I'm very, very glad that he's breathing oxygen. If y'all missed that, check it out. You will be blessed by what Dilla had to say. So I'll be following him. You can do so too. I think at 6figure_Dilla, 6figure, the number 6, FIGGA _Dilla, DILLA, 6figure Dilla. Anyhow, along the lines of, you know, what the younger generation is interested in learning and what it is that they want to know, you was telling me about young brother out Baltimore who with
out Baltimore,
Bodymore, Maryland, as it is often referred to because of the astronomical murder rate that they have. There's a line in The Wire. Well, I know I'm always quoting The Wire. I'm sorry, y'all. It's my favorite show. Where the deputy superintendent of the police department says he was talking to the commanders or whatever, and he was like, "Man, I don't want to hear these excuses about how y'all can't get a grip on this crime." He said, "Let me tell y'all something." He said, "If Baltimore had, you sure about that, Steve? All right, cool." He said if Baltimore had New York's population, they'd be dealing with like 2,400 murders a year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just per capita, they murder rate is bananas. Bananas. They got to get a grip on that thing. So anyhow, but you was talking about a young brother who, I appreciate you doing that, Ron. I meant to actually set it up from the robot because it's not allowing me to do it, but I ain't hook it up. The brother had, from one thing I saw, he had a 0.15 GPA or 0.51 GPA.
Giving him too much credit.
Okay, come on with it.
He has a 0.137.
0.137 GPA.
And he's ranked number 62 out of 120 students.
And he's ranked in the middle of his class.
And
that is par.
That 0.137 is over. He was a senior, fourth-year student, and he'd only passed 3 courses in his entire 4 years. Right?
Passed 3 courses in 4 years, yet he is still a senior.
But he was
number
elevated
1
to the second tier of each class. So if it was English 101, he still went to English 102. If it was algebra, he went to algebra 2.
Y'all steady passing them along.
Passed along.
Social promotion.
Social promotion. Right?
That is bananas.
Now, after he's achieved or reached his senior year, he realizes he's not going to graduate. Now, I don't know how that's possible because this is an argument I have with my own son. There's no way possible that you're this disconnected from your own life.
That you thought you was going.
How could you possibly think you was going to graduate if you know you only passed 3 classes? That, for me, in my household, that wouldn't rock.
Hey man, I've had many a vacation planned where I was like, man, by the time the vacation comes, I'm gonna be 6-pack this, pack that. Like, Herb, how do you think that's possible? You eat a large Italian fiesta with extra sausage every day.
Yeah, what it is. You know what I mean?
But in my mind, though,
yeah, I'm still going to have
I'm moving towards that goal. When we get on that plane, I'm going to be ripped, fam. Like, how, sir?
You can lie to yourself all you want. But your truth will show itself. You know what I mean?
That is bananas.
But, it's interesting because they talked to the mother. And as the mother, she said she's a single mother. She works 3 different jobs. And I think she put that out there as a way to say, hey, man, I'm overwhelmed. I can't pay attention in the capacity that you think I should pay attention in. Now, out of his 4 years, there was only 1 call for a parent-teacher conference. And I think because of her 3 jobs, she never was able to make that happen. I know the comments is moving kind of fast, but I think Beulah said the adults in his life failed him, and I would agree 100%. She said the school should have developed an intervention plan his freshman year. But obviously, if he's number 62 out of a class of 120,
that's the average. He's dead smack in the middle.
Smack in the middle, right? So maybe, it's like,
what does 162 have? This man got a 0.137.
What does the number 1 guy have?
He probably has a 1.0, or she has a 1.0.
Or 2.5.
Perhaps.
Right? Or 2.3. But either way, Baltimore schools are failing these children and they're still passing them along. They're passing them through. They're still promoting them. And in this specific case,
I got to keep my job. Fuck if you don't know shit.
In this specific case, all of the adults in the lives of these students are failing them as well. But to think that he's number 62 out of 120 and he's only passed 3 classes in 4 years. Right? And nobody, it's not that nobody knew. It's that no one cared.
Nobody cared.
No one in his life cared.
That he's so uneducated. That he's doing so poorly in school.
And just for the record, right? I don't think education,
intelligence is not linked to school performance.
Opinion, right?
Yeah, school performance and intelligence not
but
necessarily linked.
Opportunity is absolutely linked to school performance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if someone cares and would like to see you make to be promoted to any level of opportunity, then you have to perform at some level. And no one invested in him enough to perform at any level. No one. And obviously, no one's investing in another 61 of them.
60, you know what I mean? Like that's
and maybe even like 80 of them. No one.
Yeah, because, 50, number 50 ain't doing too hot either. You know what I'm saying? Number 40 ain't doing too hot either. Like, that's bananas to me, dog. When I was in high school, I would literally watch like some of my classmates like cry, like break out in tears about a B plus or or slipping a spot in the class ranking, like from 3 to 4. You know what I mean? Like break out in tears. Me, as long as I can play ball, I'm straight. Am I eligible to keep playing ball? Cool. Like I'm not. That's where I need to be. Like, but at my school, they was like they knew from jump. I'm trying to go to Harvard. And so they was Ackies when young, which means they started in 7th grade, right? And I'm trying to go to Harvard. I'm trying to go to, and so every little thing, it was like, I'm like, what's your GPA? What's my GPA? It's a 4 this, and I'm trying to get it. What's mine?
See, I had two distinctly different.
2.9, 3.1. Right in that groove is where I live.
I had two distinctly different experiences, though. Right? Going to Dunbar at the time that I went to Dunbar, I would almost say it was kind of comparative to whatever school this is in Baltimore. The main stuff I learned in Dunbar is stuff that applied to me being successful outside of school in the first place. You know, it was more about how to access the streets at high levels. You know, if I'm being honest, you know what I mean? It was interesting, right? Coming from, like I went to Beasley, and going to Dunbar from Beasley is like unheard of. Nobody does that, right? And the only reason I went to Dunbar is because my aunt was there. Miss Dawson was at Dunbar at the time. I would have had to go to my neighborhood school because my grades was terrible at Beasley. I didn't give a damn about no school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not linked to intelligence.
But I had conflicts in my neighborhood, which had I went to my neighborhood school, it would have been a larger conflict.
Every day.
Every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Ended up pushing me to Dunbar. And I'm so thankful and grateful for it at this point because what Dunbar gave me was entree to the low end at a time when I had never had entree to the low end. So it opened up a level of relationships and resources that I'd never had access to. You know, even though I went to Beasley, that's not like being on the low end because Beasley's like a prison. Like they bust you in, they bust you back. Yeah. You don't really touch the town at all. You know, I got in trouble a lot. I wasn't on the bus.
Robert Taylor's was across the street. You can't. You know
even when I was in trouble and had to ride to CTA, I was 13 years old. You know, I wasn't accessing too much over there. You know what I mean? But going to Dunbar allowed me entree into the IDBs. It allowed me entree in the Stateway. It allowed me entree. And lo and behold, like people don't realize this, but Dunbar had a large West Side contingency too. There's a lot of kids that went to Dunbar from the West Side. So it opened up the West Side to me too, opened up relationships to me. But again, most of the stuff that I took from Dunbar was birthing me in criminality.
Can I say this about Dunbar? Dunbar, we having a conversation about Summertime Shot like the other night or something. Dunbar has one of my favorite events on the Summertime Shot calendar. And it's their all-class reunion that they do every year over in Washington Park. That joint be busting. I ain't never went to Dunbar. But I go to the Dunbar all-class reunion almost every year. First of all, I got a lot of friends that went to Dunbar. But two, it just be busting. I like it a lot.
And low key though, Dunbar has a very expansive and successful alumni, right? They do a lot of stuff in the city.
Oh yeah.
But more importantly, I think Dunbar kind of serves as the glue for schools on at least at that time for the low end, right? It was really the binding of most of the low end community. You know what I mean? So it built relationships that were valuable for me. You know what I mean? It kind of, I live on the low end now, but I was always a transplant that was good because I had those kind of relationships. You know what I mean? But just in explaining the experience, the differences, right? I could have floated through Dunbar for those 4 years, and I probably would have went beyond Dunbar in regards to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I would have never achieved at no high level at all, but I would have never failed out either. You know what I mean? But in getting in trouble in the way that I always seem to find myself in, I got shipped to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which was a completely different kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And I don't get it twisted. I fucked off at Cedar Rapids a lot too. You know what I mean? But the opportunities that they afforded me and offered me, like I got an opportunity to speak to Mamiya Abu Jamal. I got an opportunity to get a college scholarship. I got an opportunity to speak to the governor at the time in Cedar Rapids. Not, one, there wasn't nothing else to do in Cedar Rapids but school, so you actually went. But to give some reference point to even who I was in Cedar Rapids, like my senior year, I got kicked out the Hoop Squad for academics. So think about that, and to go from there and still get a college scholarship, it's like it's a different world.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like I couldn't do it. I just wasn't. I wasn't concerned. I didn't care.
Yeah.
But the investment they made pushed me a little bit harder. You know what I mean? And when there's no one making an investment, it's easy to fall behind in the cracks.
Yeah.
And it's no way to say that this guy here with a .0137. It's no way to say that nobody made an investment in this kid.
Yeah, nobody.
And obviously, nobody's making an investment in none of those kids.
Nobody has any expectations of success for him. No one thinks that he is to become something great, to reach his fullest potential. Nobody sees that as a possibility for him, so nobody invests the time to help him get there. And clearly that is the case for, again, he's dead smack in the middle of his class. You know what I'm saying? He ain't an anomaly. He ain't at the bottom by himself. You know what I'm saying? And that is an unfortunate truth for a lot of students, a lot of black students across this country. Wherever we are, I'm sure we'll find some of these spaces. We talk about Chicago all the time, and how there's 4 desirable public high schools to go to in the city. Third largest city in the country, 355,000 CPS students, 4 desirable high schools to go to. That ain't, you know what I mean? Like, what we doing with the rest of them?
That's something to think about.
What we doing with the rest of them? You know what I mean?
Not caring.
They are not expected to be successful, productive members of society in that way. They might, it's bananas, man. It's bananas. And other schools may be, popular. Like I knew Dunbar because of sports. You know what I mean? My man Jay Strait was a superstar, like hooper there. Jay Strait graduated in 2001, but before then, Rocky Harvey played football, and Rocky Harvey went there. And I used to watch him at Gately when I was a shorty, watching Rocky Harvey go for 6-7 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So it had that kind of a claim to me, so I was aware of Dunbar. But other than that, it's a lot of schools that I'm like, I don't even think about that school when I'm going through my mental Rolodex of Chicago public high schools. It's a problem.
Same time, I heard Killer Mike on Breakfast Club almost a year ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He was going in on envy for sending his kids to private schools. Mm-hmm. And he was making an argument that those same public schools that we deny, those public institutions that we deny, and he's specifically talking to envy because envy has a level of resources that the average black person doesn't have. Mm-hmm. He was like, but it was those institutions that made you. Mm-hmm. How do you deny them now, right? Mm-hmm. How do you not make that investment with them now while sending your children to these, private institutions?
I get it.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I get it too. Now, I don't have the resources of envy, but I got a little bit of resource, and I've been sending my kids to private schools since birth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is Eric's first level of access to any kind of public institution, and even that's in Arizona per se. So it's not the same experience that he would have in, let's say, Chicago. Mm-hmm. And I question myself all the time, like, is that the right move to make? Mm-hmm. Now the private institutions that I sent them to were always black centered. And black-owned private institutions, but it's a different kind of understanding. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of experience, and I don't know. I know that they didn't get the experience that I got, and I always question whether or not I made the right decision. And even though I didn't, let me say this: I questioned whether or not I was making the right decision and allowing my wife to make those decisions because she wasn't. She's from a different world than me, and she wasn't going. She's afraid almost of the branding of public school. You know what I mean? And it's just easier for me not to deal with that argument to say, okay, well, let's send them here. As long as it's black centered, I can deal with.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder if I failed, and not just not sending them there, but not making the investment that I know was valuable for me, and it would have been even more valuable from me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's something to think about.
No, that's real. Darius asks, he say, Herb, what are those 4 desirable schools? I would say that you're talking about Walter Payton, Whitney Young, Lane Tech, and then I would say like Morgan Park or Kenwood would also be on that list as well. I may be leaving out a school or 2.
Make it a strong 6. It's still
right. You know what I'm saying?
Hundreds of thousands,
maybe like Jones
students.
College Prep downtown, but you got 5 or 6 schools. You got a handful of schools that people want to send their kids to. Now you can say schools like Simeon, but it's desirable for athletes. You know what I'm saying? If my son plays baseball, football, basketball,
academically desirable,
right? I mean, just academically for students, there are diet. That's a personal attachment right there.
Shout out to Diet, man.
Shout out to Diet for sure. And they've done a lot of dope things. And since what is it? A science and arts? What is it? Liberal arts school now? Is that what it is? Right? Beulah, what is it now? But yeah, no. Yeah, like just a handful. And I'm not.
Beulah, I need to plug your Diet today. I need my son to be over there working out with y'all team. I'm gonna have to call Gil, but I think Gil gonna tell me no. So I need you to pull a card and tell Gil you gotta let him do it.
Yo, Beulah is plugged. She's tapped in. And obviously she was the principal over there. But yeah, I just think it's about a handful of schools. I might have left one, give or take a school or something like that. But it's unfortunate. Certainly not enough to service 355,000 students, 73% of which live below the poverty line. And two is just saying that while there is no direct correlation to school performance and intelligence, there is a direct correlation between school performance and opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so if there's only 4 schools that are setting these kids up to be eligible for that opportunity, and what are we doing with the others? You know what I mean? What are we doing with the others? Deborah said you talking about Gil Walker?
No, I know Gil Walker too though.
Anyhow, it's an unfortunate math equation. You know what I'm saying? That there's just not enough quality education to service all of our students. It should be. It absolutely should be. So hopefully we can get that done. But I think we also need to we need to take more accountability, more responsibility for our children's education and what they're learning. Same thing I was saying yesterday when we were talking about Soul of a Nation, and the young sister that was on there was like, yeah, they need to cut the check for reparations, but they also need to teach us the accurate history. Like, nah, Queen, they're not going to do that. You know what I mean?
It's also about the racial, social, and governmental aspects of how these schools operate too, though.
Yeah.
Right? Even think about it from the grammar school perspective. Like, I legitimately live. Cottage Grove is the borderline between Hyde Park and Washington Park. Mm-hmm. I'm 1 block west of Cottage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about grammar schools, specifically public grammar schools, even if I was going to go to a public grammar school, there's about 5 or 6 of them in that Hyde Park area that are like top tier grammar schools. Mm-hmm. But because of that borderline, even though some of those schools are closer than my neighborhood schools, my kids couldn't access those schools except for to be on, a waiting list where they would be number 200, whatever.
Right, because what's over there, like Doolittle and some other stuff?
I don't remember the names at this point, but it's a lot of the top tier grammar schools in there. I think it's 5 of them in total. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now, as Eric's name started to grow in regards to like what he could do in the basketball court, I started to get offers over there.
That matters.
Yeah, it does. But at that point, I was like, man, the hell with y'all. I didn't want my son to be a tool to be used at that age.
Right, now you're just a mule at this point.
Not now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know it was going to happen eventually, but I would have rather it happen later in life.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No, I don't know that if I couldn't throw a football the way I could, I don't know that I would have went to Indiana. Or if my brother couldn't shoot a basketball the way he could.
Your brother was your brother, right?
Right. Like, my brother was already there, and he was already doing what he was doing, and so the door was kind of open for me. Now, I had to take the test and pass and all that, too. And I was a good student in grammar school. I didn't get jaded with school until, like, high school. And so, in grammar school, I did very well in school. But high school, it was like, yeah, I'm not really interested in this. I don't really want to take these classes. Like, I got to take French for what? I don't want to take French. And, I took 2 years of French, and I learned how to say 2 things. Puis-je aller au WC? Puis-je aller à mon casier? And that's simply, can I go to the bathroom and can I go to my locker because I need to get out of here? Like, that was it. But from day one, you walk into class and you had to speak French. She from day one, never spoke a word of English in that room. And I hate it. Like, this don't make sense to me. Lady, I'm asking you a question. She's talking and stuff, and I hated it. And once I decide something is stupid, I check out. I'm done. This is stupid. I check out. It's a problem I have. I need to work on that. But
I've never been a good student in my life.
Not even in grammar school?
Never.
Yeah, I liked school in grammar school. I used to, what one of my favorite things was in grammar school, and this is nostalgic, and I don't even know when the last time I seen one. Spelling paper. Remember that?
No.
And I don't know what it's called, but we always called it spelling paper. It was that little slit of paper. It was like this wide, it's a little sheet of paper, go down. And we used to use it for spelling tests. I used to love taking spelling tests. I always liked spelling tests. And I would try to get perfect. And if I missed one word, I'd be mad. Like, oh! I don't know why. I liked spelling tests, and I loved spelling paper. I don't know why I even told you.
You have a vast vocabulary today. That's why you are articulate today.
Yeah, sometimes you wouldn't know it.
No, I recognize it all the time, man. I think I had one good year, and that good year was in college, and that was only after I got academically dismissed from college, and I had to prove a point. You understand?
Right. Okay, let me show y'all what I can do.
Yeah, but that's the only time I ever had good grades ever in the history of ever. You know what I mean? I remember when I first got to college, this is interesting about like how racism works and how they kind of cripple black youth, and I'm going to specifically say black men. But I remember I was in college, and it was English 101. Like in college, you had to take English 101, then you get promoted to English 102 or whatever. And the professor from 101 had called me to her office, G, and this was the most racist shit ever in the history of racist shit to happen. And it was so racist, I didn't know how to answer. I was confused on what the fuck to say.
Damn, what did she just say to me?
So she calls me in the office. Imagine I'm 18 years old. She calls me in her office, and she asked me, did I know what a noun was? I'm so confused. I'm standing like, is this bitch asking me a trick question? What about what the fuck is this? I didn't know what to do. So I was fully offended. But then if I'm being if I'm being honest, like I was like, damn, am I dumb?
Do I know what a noun
is? You know what I'm saying? Am I harboring some level of stupidity? Right. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is wrong with me? You know what I mean? And it was interesting.
Advernoun.
And it was interesting because the very next semester in 102, that next English professor was asking me to compete in national writing competitions. How do you go from one woman saying to you, and I didn't invest no more in English.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And at that school specifically, this was also interesting to me too, is that in order to graduate, you had to pass something called the writer's comp. I don't know if that's in all Illinois schools or not, but it was at our school for sure. It was always like heralded as this big thing. You know, you better be ready to pass the writer's comp and this, that, and the third. And I've kind of always held my hat on my skill to write. I know I can do this shit. And man, it was brothers that was graduating before me, years before me, all the time. I can't pass the writer's comp. And I was like, damn, what's this test about? Right? So I finally get to the test, G.
Alvin, I'm afraid to ask you to translate that. Just knowing you, I'm afraid to ask you to translate that.
I get to the test, and it was so easy to me. I was like, something got to be wrong. Like I knocked out the test in like 15 minutes. Like how can't you pass this? You know what I mean? But it just speaks to how racism works. Think about that. Within a couple months, one woman told me I didn't know what a noun was when the next one was asking me to compete in national competition.
It's what people find value in it, and where do they find value in you, and what do they deem valuable within the person that you are. Alvin is a fool. He's an absolute fool, dog. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Cherie been chilling lately on the joke. She been coming with a lot of dope, like real points and facts about stuff, but she been chilling on the hilarity lately. But Alvin, full speed ahead. Him and Steve, they just go.
No brakes.
No brakes, right? We don't need no brakes on this whip, fam. It's only a gas pedal on this joint. I love it though. Thanks for bringing that energy to the space, my brother. Yeah, man, it's definitely a different thing. It's not a when you talk about what people see value, there are different things that people are going to find value in. And so while some people would be like, nah, for the very same reason, somebody else would be like, yeah, definitely that person. And it's a preference thing. It's a thing you kind of understand. And it's just.
Shout out to Ready Rock, man. She been on YouTube all this time. I guess she must have got kicked off of Facebook or something.
Ready Rock, what up?
And she said, I was a good student because it was a means to an end. And I think that's an interesting statement to make, specifically in regards to like black children. And I read that snippet from Baldwin a couple weeks ago when he was like at 14. The reality of the world came to all of us. And my peers started to drop out of school and drinking wine in the alley.
Yeah.
The girls started to getting thicker, and they only goal of aspiration was to have sex with some boy, right? And I think that when we say it's a means to an end, sometimes I wonder what's the end. When we looking at the numbers and we say that 60% of black families ain't making $50,000, so we know it ain't wealth. That's not the end. What's the end? Is a means to, and how do kids ain't stupid. They recognize that I'm in poverty, and you can tell me all this high school education shit you want to. We eating ramens every day.
Right. I know the real.
I know the truth.
Right.
Yeah, because my pops, my ass made sure I had good grades throughout high school. Stayed on the honor roll, graduated top 20 out of 500. And
you graduated top 20 out of 500? What school was this?
You know, CVS was the biggest school.
Yeah.
But
a lot of y'all, but it ain't.
But he didn't care, but he had no idea what it was for. It was like he was just telling me like, you gotta have good grades. After high school, he didn't care about college. He didn't even help me look for colleges while I was in high school.
Yeah.
Just like, nigga, you gotta get good grades. And I'm like, why? Or I'm gonna beat your ass. That's it.
Right. Because I said so.
You didn't like getting your ass beat, so you followed through, huh?
Got good grades.
Yeah, because I said so. I get it. You know, we say that a lot to kids because I said so. And
said it this morning.
Yeah, you know, while it could be effective.
I also said I'll beat your ass. Man. This was the conversation in the house this morning.
So we know which one of your children you were talking to.
That's what it is.
He gonna fuck you up one day. What can you say? Alternative schools don't count, right?
CVS damn near should have been.
500 students, man. I had to go to night school there one year, and not night school, summer school there one year. Huge, bro, humongous school, and it was funny. It was always this funny thing because you know a lot of their football players was in summer school too, and so we would always talk this stuff. We used to play CVS. I think our second game at Whitney Young every year we played them at Gately, and the year before that, I took a punt to the crib, and so once they figured out that it was just. All day long, we just talking stuff about football. And this year, we going to do this to y'all. Like, fam, no, y'all not. I'm going to take another punt to the crib on y'all, and y'all going to lose again.
Y'all actually beat CVS?
What?
I ain't saying that. I mean, Whitney Young ain't never been good at football.
It's not a football school. But we were quite competitive for like, and it didn't start with it. Like my class kind of carried it on, but it started with the seniors. The senior class when I was a freshman, the 01 class at Whitney Young started to make the football school. They had a dude named Nate Harrington at quarterback, had a guy named Jason Bogan that played linebacker and tight end. Jason Bogan was a beast, but he did one of the wildest things that I've ever seen done to like kind of derail whatever.
Life.
I don't know his life. He's probably well. I don't know what's up with Jay right now, but I'm sure he's well. He's a smart dude. But I'll tell you this wild thing that he did. But anyway, yeah. Now we played CVS our second game, and yeah, we did work on them. They might have beat us once in the 4 years that I was there, but yeah, we was all right, man. We was all right. We wasn't Simeon Hubbard, but you know, we wasn't the easy win. Anyhow, the story. I shouldn't even tell the story. I'm gonna tell it anyway.
That's what you do.
It ain't nothing crazy. I walk in the weight room one day at school, and I said Jason Bogan, didn't I? His name is Jason Hutton. Jason Bogan is my cousin, who's also a really, really good football player. But anyhow, walk in the weight room one day, and Bob Davies is in there. Bob Davies was the head football coach at Notre Dame at the time. And I'm like, damn, Bob Davies in this motherfucker, right? And so y'all wasn't the Brook. Nah, Bolingbrook had a squad. And when I was in high school in particular, they had this dude named Kyle Williams. And this dude was,
I know that name.
because he was a monster, right? He had this highlight tape. It was so cold. His highlight tape started with, it was just, you could hear like, it was like this like background noise. You can hear like people like talking in the stands of a football game. And that's all you can hear. And then you hear that for a few seconds, and then you see this football go up. So the football go up, boom, like a kickoff or something. And you watch the football, and it go down, and the dude catches it. And then you see this dude come and take this dude's head off, just boom. And then the screen flashes, bone crusher, bone crusher, bone crusher, bone crusher. And then it's like 5 minutes of Kyle Williams just teeing off on people in different highlights. Pop, 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 pop. This dude was cold. I was like, please, let us never play against them while I am the quarterback. Put somebody else in the game. But anyway, yeah, Bolingbrook had some squats for sure, no doubt about that. Yeah, there goes Suge. I knew Suge knows everything, man. My dog Suge, who is one of my best friends in life. Man, I got to catch up with him. Suge was up here like last weekend. But anyway, Suge knows everything there is to know about football. I remember like, I don't know, a million years ago, he was like, bro, it's this dude, Cam Newton. He knows Suge knows I'm a big Florida Gators fan. He's like, it's this dude, Cam Newton. And he going to Florida. He cold as hell. You got to see him. And I'm like, oh, okay, Shook. Why do you know about like high school players though? Like he knows everything
from across the country.
You know what I'm saying? Like why do you know this, right? But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Jason Hutton, walk in, Bob Davies, locker room, boom. And I'm like, damn, Bob Davies is in the locker room right now. And they're like, yeah, he here because they recruiting Jason. I'm like, oh, that's dope as hell, right? And so. I'm in there fronting, trying to put on extra weights on the bar. I'm a freshman though, right? But anyway, Bob Davies tells Jason that come to South Bend next weekend for your official visit. Come to South Bend for your visit next week. I'm like, that's raw as hell, bro. And so it ends, and then the coach tells our coach. After Bob Davis is gone, whatever, like, yeah, you can't go down there next Saturday. Like, why not? Because we got post game next Saturday. Now, play the games on Friday nights. We had post game on Saturday mornings. This is what post game was. We get to the school at like 8:00 in the morning. We would, if you needed treatment, you get your treatment. You get a lift in, and then we watch the film from last night's game. That's post game. You can't miss post game
for a trip to Notre Dame.
To go to Notre Dame. I said, what? And so when he's telling them, I'm like, what coach wanted? He said, I can't go down to South Bend next week. I said, and you're considering that? Like, man, so what? By the time you come back from there, you'll be a Fighting Irish. You're no longer a Dolphin no more. Who cares? Like, whatever. Like, there was also a linebacker. Dude named Corey Mays.
He didn't go?
Listen, also a linebacker dude named Corey Mays. He went to Morgan Park. Notre Dame was recruiting him too. I imagine that Bob Davies went from Whitney Young to Morgan Park and saw Corey that day too. And
Corey showed up.
Corey went to Notre Dame the next week, and Corey was a Fighting Irish linebacker, and Jason went to Northern. I couldn't believe that I'm like, bro. Fuck what dude talking about, fam. You not a Whitney Young Dolphin no more. You are now a Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Whatever, fam. Go do your visit, fam. Like, fuck what dude talking about.
The adults in his life failed him.
That's what I'm saying. Furthermore, he's not gonna not play you. He was like, if you don't come to post game, you ain't gonna play the next week. That's cap, bro. You one of the best players in the state. We ain't gonna win if you don't play. You are going to play. Furthermore, he can't explain that to nobody. Like when the reporters, Bob Sakamoto and all of them, when they like, yo, why Jason didn't play that? Well, he chose to go to Notre Dame for his official visit, and we were watching film. What? Yeah, blows my mind.
Yeah, that's foolish.
That is unfortunate.
Foolish.
But he was a dog on the football field.
They say we've been too calm in the ratchet hour. So let's get to some ratchet news.
What you got for us, brother?
Former WNBA player said she was bullied in the league, filled with jealousy. Here's how the WNBA players responded. Candace Wiggins, former Stanford standout who retired in 2016, said in an interview with the San Diego Union Tribune that 98% of the league is gay. Gay. And that she was bullied and targeted for harassment. One excerpt, me being heterosexual and straight and being vocal in my identity as a straight woman was huge, Wiggins said. I would say 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay women, and it was a conformist type of place. There was a whole different set of rules the other players could apply. They was jealous. There was a lot of jealousy and competition, and we're all fighting for crumbs, Wiggins said. The way I looked, the way I played, those things contributed to the tension. People were deliberately trying to hurt me all of the time. I had never been called so many bitches in my life. Then I was in my rookie season. I'd never been thrown to the ground so much. The message was clear. They didn't want me, and they didn't like me because of my heterosexuality.
Either you giving up the box, or we beating your ass.
The box.
You know what I'm saying? Women are quite rapey, man. It can be quite rapey. Yeah, I mean.
But think about that. That's an interesting dynamic, right? Saying that we live in at least the normative is heterosexuality, right? But in that world, in the WNBA, I could imagine that the normative would be
for sure
homosexuality.
Yeah, they play with a strap on. They on the court, strapped up. That's not what you meant when you said we was too cold. That's not where you wanted me to go.
Deep breath two.
Can you imagine that? I bet you. I bet my life some woman basketball player somewhere has played a game strapped up
with the cup on it.
I bet my life on it. I bet my life on it. That some woman somewhere has hooped strapped up, fam.
Okay.
Can you imagine what that's like, though?
No, I can't imagine what it's like to have a strap.
That's not what I meant, bro. That's just, I hope you could imagine what that's like, first of all.
No, not having a strap. Mine was already assembled. There's that line. He keeps jumping clean over. You right, Kansas.
I be seeing the line, Kansas. I be like, is that the line right there? Yeah, that's it.
We're doing a Ball Johnson did.
The Ball Johnson did. The ball's going one way, Johnson going the other. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Y'all trying to walk around the house naked? Yes, we are. Matter of fact, gonna do it tonight when I get home. Your mom walking around that house, that big old booty bouncing, giving me a lap dance. Yeah. And my ball. Hey, that's hilarious. Good stuff. Ball Johnson dance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Oh, that's really, really good. Good stuff. Good stuff, right? Nah, can you imagine? I don't mean that. Can you imagine that? I'm thinking, can you imagine what it's like to be, one of the very few heterosexual women in a locker room where all the other women are lesbians and they are like hounding you? Because let's be honest, lesbians. You talking about by and large, stud butch type lesbians. They can be aggressive, fam. They could be aggressive. That's got to be a really uncomfortable workplace, for real.
Do you think men are like that to women?
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
In the same capacity, you think, as a lesbian would be to the woman in the locker room?
I don't think so, because there's just a different dynamic there. There's a different dynamic at play where they kind of feel just a little bit more comfortable in their aggression because, ultimately I am a woman as well. There's another dynamic there which clearly I don't understand.
Even when I see like the lesbians and the bush women out in the street,
yeah,
like how they respond to their girl is very different than I've seen men respond.
Yeah, it's a different kind of energy, but it's akin to dropping a woman in a man's locker room. You know what I'm saying? How dude's gonna be hounding her? You know what I mean? Like but I think again there's a different dynamic that probably.
You think let's say we making up hypothetical shit.
Sure.
Predominantly gay male sport,
mm-hmm.
and some heterosexual male drops into the gay.
Ron, what sport did you play in high school?
Right. Where did the gay guys play?
I couldn't play sports in high school. Smart asses.
So you did music. So gay music locker room.
It's a reason why y'all obsessed with my sexuality.
So anyway, this gay music locker room did everybody say right.
Ron out here playing like lacrosse or something, man.
Ain't lacrosse a physical sport though?
Oh, that's God, he was in the top 10% of his class, he said. Was it top 10? Did you say top 10?
Top 20.
It's soccer with a stick.
That second 10 is a mother
throw thing.
But they play with pads and shit.
Yeah, I mean, because those sticks are hard, and so you swiping them, you hit somebody in the shoulder, you break their shoulder, their clavicle. If you don't have
a male figure skating locker room. Right. That's what Steve said. So when Lil Ron was figure skating, when
Lil Ron was doing triple axels,
your mama.
So in that instance, I wonder, do you think that the dudes would be that aggressive toward the
Nancy Kerrigan ass nigga? Nigga,
you gay.
We know you are. What y'all think though? Y'all think that?
If okay, so if it was a straight dude in a predominantly homosexual locker room, I hear you.
I like the figure skating because that's probably true.
Would they hound him?
Right? Would they hound this heterosexual guy in the same way? Let's say the sister said she was hounded in the LA Sparks locker room.
Yes.
What you think?
I would believe so.
Because that type of homosexual man, right? That one, that's what I'm saying. It's so it ain't the I'm a lesbian, but I pretty much like you wouldn't know it unless I told you, right? But if you can look at me and see it, there is a different kind of energy that moves with that. Same with the dudes.
But that's the same energy. It's the opposite. Like if it was a locker room full of straight guys and it was like one gay dude in there, they're gonna do the same thing.
Well, they might make fun of him, which is not cool. But we talking about like hounding him, like trying to get in his pants.
And even we got to be clear though, right? This was like a 14-year career. Do you think that over 14 years, dude's gonna keep hounding the gay dude, even in the comical way?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what was dude's name? What Sam?
Football player?
Yeah, the one.
Yeah, but he was only in the league for.
Yeah, he wasn't that good.
Right.
I mean, he was good in college. He balled out at Missouri. He had like 20 sacks or something like that. But once he got to, I think the Rams might have drafted him or something.
The Rams.
So do y'all think like
he's so stupid?
Do y'all think like if a basketball player that's famous now came out the closet that they would cancel him?
They ain't cancel Magic.
Okay then.
Oh, Magic came out
He came out that closet.
Come on,
yeah, King Salim. I do know that Jim Brown played lacrosse. He was an All-American midfielder at Syracuse.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Jim Brown ain't nothing soft at all. So let's go with figure
That's
skating.
why we said figure skating.
Right, let's go with figure skating. Mike Sam. Thank you, Gino. Mike Sam was the dude. No, I don't think people would make fun of you for over 14 years. But I'm saying in the reverse, if it's a predominantly homosexual male locker room and there's one straight dude in it, then yeah, I do think, because again, we're talking about that type of homosexual. You know what I'm saying? You like that like flaming type. You know what I mean? They be like they flirt with you. You know what I'm saying? Just you like me? You know you like me? No, I don't. Stop playing. Okay. If they was in the locker room, yeah, I think they'd be on that with a dude.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I feel that way.
Yeah. Locker rooms are weird places anyway, though.
They are.
They weird. Like, you see a lot of, like, interesting behavior from, like, heterosexual dudes in locker rooms. It's like, yo, this dude I played with in high school, a student named Ryan.
Well, maybe they wasn't heterosexual.
Yes, I'm saying. A student named Ryan Dunnigan, right? Who was my homie. The whole time we was in high school, he played with a cup, a jockstrap that was broken. It didn't connect at the bottom. And so what he would do was walk up and down the locker room, and he would come in your row. We had rows, like, you know what I'm saying? You kind of walk down. So he would come in your row and just stand there in his cup and then just flap it so that the cup would fly up like that because it wasn't connected to nothing. I'm like, yo, why do you do this shit every day, bro? What's wrong with you?
Play it, Rod. Play it. I'm not even going to say nothing. Just play it, Rod.
You get.
Remember that story I told you about when we went out to 111th? And he was like, yo, let me show you the crib. When everything was
yeah.
That's him.
Definitely got some challenges he's dealing with.
He's dealing with some things, man. Shout out to Ryan Dunnigan, man. That's my man. I need to call him or something. Yeah, you know, that be's what it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You don't think dudes would be like on that with a straight dude in the locker room?
I don't. I think it's because of the hierarchy of man now. I think eventually somebody's gonna get their ass whooped and the conversation stops.
Can you whoop my ass though? Can you whoop
my ass though? But it's also just different understanding, at least in my opinion. And this is all opinion based, of course. But I think once brothers accept you into their fold, in whatever way they do, you just accept it into the fold. You know what I mean? How you move is how you move, and what you do is how you do. And it might be some jokes or whatever, but it's not. Once you accept it, you accept it. It's not. Once you in the group, you in the group.
Yo, I'm sorry, bro. Kimmy might have just came with the funniest comment I've ever seen when I said what I said. Kimmy Pryor says, WNBA, toxic masculinity. That is such good comedy. I love that kind of comedy. That's really, really good. It's really, really good. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that locker rooms can be weird places. I know that. I coached there was a girl I've coached 2 girls that play football. One was a kicker, which ain't the same as playing football. But, huh?
It is.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's an old clip of Bill Parcells, legendary football coach. And he's mic'd up at practice, or he's mic'd up in a game or something. And the trainer comes over there, and Bill Parcells asked the trainer, like, yo, how's the kicker doing? Because he had some injury. He was like, I don't know, I'm working on him, but I don't know if he's going to be able to play. He was like, I don't need him to play. I just need him to kick. Like, he's not playing, man. He's just kicking. Like, I don't need him to play. What you talking about play? One was a kicker, but the other one, a young lady named Jasmine White. She was the starting center, offensive line. She was a beast. I'm not even going to lie. She could ball for real. But there was never any issue about nothing on the team. One, because she was one of the toughest people on the team. I think she would have beat most of them dudes' ass for real. But 2, it just wasn't like that. Now, she obviously, dressed in a separate locker room. Then she would come over to the locker room. Once everybody's dressed, she'd come over to the locker room. We'd go over the shit or whatever. But, yeah, it was never a thing. Now, I will say this. I had to, like, my quarterbacks, they would make me so mad when when she became the starting center. I had to, like, get the quarterbacks to get over how weird it was, because I prefer a pro style.
Making gestures behind her and everything?
No, they wasn't on that. I would have beat their ass. But they couldn't get over how weird it was. I like to run a pro style offense where the quarterback is under the center, like not in shotgun formation.
So they all up with their hands all in the box.
And so I've always, like, the same way I was taught to play quarterback, I always taught my quarterbacks, and this is, it's going to sound how it sounds, but this is the truth. I was taught this way early. When you put your hand on there, you need to feel whatever. You need to feel. Shut up.
You get.
That's good. You gonna tell them to play it to you? Play it. All right, it's cool. When you put your hands under there, you need to feel his testicles at the top of your hand, right? And then keep it there. And then you're trying to make whatever. It is what it is. I'm trying to tell y'all something. And then you make this groove in your thumbs like this. Your thumbs will make this natural kind of
slightly grazing his testicles.
Huh?
Slightly grazing his testicles.
Nigga, you get.
They would just rest across the top of your hand. That's really funny. Keep that coming. But they would rest across the top of your hand. And so anyway, what I'm trying to tell y'all when y'all stop playing so damn much is, because you get a lot of fumbles on the center quarterback exchange, right? Okay. Just getting the ball out, right?
Fumble.
And so to keep the fumble in there, you need to have your fingers in there, and you will feel his testicles across the top. You know your hand is in the right spot.
You get.
Take the snap, right? And if you want to make it even gayer, the center is taught to take the ball and snap it into his asshole.
Nigga, you get.
Yeah. That's how it goes. You take the ball, snap it into your butt, you have your fingers on his nuts. It is gay. But that's how it works. It's the best way to not fumble the ball. Point is this.
Oh, God.
Point is this. While I'm teaching testicle tickler, while I'm trying to teach my quarterbacks how to do this, right? I've always taught them that with the guys, and they would, whatever. It wasn't a big thing. They laugh a little bit, but then they do it right. Because eventually I'm be like, hey, stop playing. You drop my fucking football again. I'm going to kick your ass, right? But anyway, I have to teach the same thing.
Over and over again?
With Jasmine now.
Oh, okay. Well, she don't got dick titties, so what did you do?
Dick titties? Is that what you call them? I've never heard that in my life. You refer to testicles as dick titties?
I heard it the other day. I thought it was hilarious.
That is funny. But no, I'm telling them, like, yo, you have to get your hand in there. Like, you have to get your hand up there, bro. You keep dropping the ball.
Because, now this is important, though. Mm-hmm. Because they don't want to inherently disrespect the young lady. They struggle with that, didn't they?
Exactly, right. Because it was weird, they didn't want to put their hand, like, up there. So they,
which is
like,
kind of the energy I wanted to point out.
Her butt is here, and they trying to take the snap from here.
Right.
And they steady fumbling the ball, and I'm pissed off. Like, bro, I get it.
Right.
She's a woman. You don't want to put your hand down there and be weird. But it wasn't until I couldn't get through to them to make them stop doing it. They would do it for a while, but inevitably they bring their hand down, snap, fumble, I lose my shit, and now I'm pissed. You know what I mean? They wouldn't get it right until she would be like, yo, put your hand right here. And she would literally grab their hand and stuff it up there. Like, keep your hand right there. I'm tired of y'all fucking dropping the ball. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, now she's taking the hand and aggressively putting it on her box.
Yes, because that's where it belongs. That's where it has to go so we don't turn the football over. Mm-hmm. Like, y'all out here doing this silly stuff because y'all don't want to touch her. But
she really wanted to play center. No, I'm saying I support her aggressiveness and get the team together.
Yeah, she was a really good football player. She really was.
Yeah, okay.
Like most teams did not know that she was a girl. Like she was a really good.
Does she
football
look like
player.
a Samoan?
A little bit.
I think I know who you're talking about.
A little bit. Yeah. She does.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Who you're talking about.
Not crazy big, but she definitely looks like that.
Yeah, she might have came up in our little Pee Wee league. I've seen her play before.
Yeah, she could definitely ball. But anyway, yeah, that was always just a weird thing trying to get them to do that. But you know, Jasmine was a beast, so she handled it very, very well.
But even outside of that, I think that how the boys responded, I think that speaks volumes about how men usually respond. Like there is a level of respect. Mm-hmm. There's a line that even those young boys are like, man,
I got to put my hand on our box, coach.
What you mean, G? Come on,
yes, you have to put your hand on our box. She is the best center that we have. She's going to play center. If you are going to play quarterback, you're going to put your hand on her box, fam. Like I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you this: if you fumble my football again, I'm gonna kick your ass, and you're not gonna be on this team.
Yeah, just on some lightweight, like lazing around hoop. This girl used to hoop with us at the rec center in college. Mm-hmm. She always trying to back you down. And what are you doing, man?
I don't want to.
Hey, what are you doing? Stop. You know what I mean? Stop it.
Stop. Yeah, it's not that many. It ain't that many women hoopers that I've like found attractive though.
Oh, there's some.
Oh, there are lots. There are some, like some super cold ones. Can't think of the woman's name that's in the WNBA, but she might be one of the finest people breathing oxygen.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Never mind. It's something though. Something exists. It definitely exists.
What's weird is the knuckle fuckery you just explained. The knuckle fuckery you just explained. Listen, man, that is how the game. That is how it goes. I'm sorry if it's weird for y'all, but that is. What do y'all think those quarterbacks' hands be at? Like when y'all see them under center taking the snap, what do you think his hand is? That's just where it goes.
I know it is. I just thought it was funny.
It's hilarious. It's always been hilarious. It's always a thing. Anytime you teach somebody to do that, the first time you're like, what? Put my hand on his. Yes, dude. Like, laugh a little bit and then come take the snap.
But either way, the homosexual was ranting about her in the WNBA. That's what she's saying.
Right. Yeah, man. That's a lot of harassment to deal with on a daily basis, man. For real.
And they're not getting paid no money, so.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I could drive a bus and make this money and not be harassed.
But she was there for 14 years?
I think it's 8 years. I think it said 8 years.
I don't know. It was one of them.
That ain't running out.
Yeah, but I mean, it just runs its course. You just kind of get tired of it after a while. Like, I'm sick of this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 14 years, nah, but I mean, maybe she could have had a 14-year career and she cut it to 8 because it's like, I'm tired of y'all coming at me. Like, I'm strictly dickly.
Yeah, 8 is a good run, though.
Do you hear that term much anymore?
What's that?
Strictly dickly.
I don't be in that world like that. But one thing I do want to.
What world?
Where I would hear that term. But
one of the that line. That's how you get out of shit. I don't know nothing about that world.
All right.
I don't. But one of the things I did notice about DJing them shows.
That's what I'm going to start. I was going to bring up this. That's when I start saying to DJ. Anytime he asks those weird questions, I don't know nothing about that world.
I think every time they had a conversation last night, and I don't know how, and it seems to be like a pervasive kind of a thing, but every time they talk about a male, it's always in some kind of homoerotic way. I think that's very interesting about that generation. That and he's if it's true that people are randomly sending him those questions. If that's true, if that's true, it's all attached to this homoerotic kind of behavior. I think of those questions, if it was based in a male kind of behavior,
sure,
I think like 80 to 90% of those questions are based in like homoerotic behavior.
Them emails are sent,
fictional,
and received by and DJ. To the same email address. Okay,
by the Sky Daddy.
DJ is pulling those stories from his personal life experience. Okay,
I ain't gonna put that on DJ Jacket.
DJ is trying to figure out if it's okay for him to come to bed in a tall tee. Like he's just trying to figure that out. Like,
I'm not gonna put that on DJ Shaggy.
No, but your point is well made, you know. But I think it's just how quickly things change, bro. How quickly things change. You was talking about how prevalent the term fag used to be. Hear it in comedy, hear it in music, right? Now, you be canceled quick. Delirious would never happen today. One of the greatest stand-up comedies of all time, Eddie Murphy's Delirious, would never come out. Or Raw, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it changes quick. You grew up in the 90s, it wasn't that type of energy moving around. Like, I'm not saying this is cool. I'm just saying it was the reality that people would get picked on and like, you know what I mean? Like, about if people suspected you for being gay. Now, gay people pick on people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it changes quickly if you are able to identify your team, committed to your cause, and move unapologetically. I think there's a lot to be learned from that community. For real.
I don't. I disagree totally. You know, Sister Soldier had that interview I told y'all watch, and one of the things that she said was like, you know, youth don't like to be judged, and they're not based in any rationale either. Right? Can't challenge them. They're not studying. They don't know nothing about the past. Shit, they don't know nothing about the present. You know, but they know that they don't want to be judged, and they're very extra sensitive. You know what I mean? And one of the things that she said was that you can't learn from in that capacity, and you're doomed to fail in whatever you're doing because you don't have any reference points, right? And she said, and they don't like judgment. They cancel people who have adverse opinion to their own. You know what I mean? And she was basing this in Mythical Sky Daddy logic. She said, you know, I'm not the judge, but there is a judge for where your soul ends up. And I think there has to be some level. Every society has to have rules. It has to. That's kind of the inception of religion in the first place. It creates a standard for bearing rules. You know, when you get to this place of there are no rules, then you're bound to repeat failures of the past. Because without rules, there's no law. Without law, it's chaos. It just is. You know what I mean? It just is. And again, like I said, listening to the DJ in them conversation, be blowing my mind. That experience I told you I had about at my Crossmont Parkway, where the dude was squatting in that house over there. Yeah, I've never seen nothing like that in my life. And to imagine it here in this city, with the reputation that this city has, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? If I was in San Francisco, I would have fully accepted it, would have never thought twice about it.
Right.
But in the south side of Chicago,
on the south side of 51st,
I went from extremely angry to just depressed and sad. I could not believe it. Like, I physically couldn't believe the shit that I was watching taking place in front of me. You know what I mean? To see a house party and 100 to 150 men file out of this house, right? And I'm talking about with body augmentations. They had the voice changing. They was cross-dressed. It was all guys. And I'm talking about young boys, man, with body augmentations. And I went up, you know the whole story. So I went to whoop ass. Right? And after 5 minutes of seeing these
people. You went to go fight them?
Oh, I went to whoop ass. I was prepared to whoop serious ass that
off
night.
My block. Get off my block.
Right? And it wasn't about them being gay. It was just some other shit that was going on. But the police came and they shut down their party. And they all filed out the house. And what I assumed was women in there wasn't women. They was young boys that had body augmentations and looked like girls. And it had to be 200 of them that came out of there.
They all out in y'all courtyard. Bitch.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, G. Like, my wife came out there because I was causing the ruckus. Shit was getting out of hand quick. You know what I mean? And she was like, ugh. But I couldn't believe it, cuz. I couldn't believe it.
No,
I wanted to stop and take pictures. Like, this shit needs to be televised. Somebody has to know this is going on.
No, I seen them over there, several times. They'd be over there deep. And, Eric Hoops in the back. You know what I'm saying? So y'all out there switching and twirling and bitch, this. Nephew out here working on his game.
It was different, cuz. It was different.
Wow.
See?
Wow.
That's why we take over your Facebook. You don't deserve a Facebook.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
Yeah, on the low end.
Them 300 niggas gonna pull up to the studio. I'll be like, keep popping off.
I couldn't believe it, man. I could not believe it. You know, but think about that. Body augmentation. These boys couldn't have been out their 20s. I'm giving them 20. I'm thinking teenagers, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You think they cut they...
I didn't want to think that far into it, but it was like, man, even in the conversations when they was having the conversation on DJ show, and he talked about, or Tori talked about somebody that she know had the actual change, the operation. Mm-hmm. In the comments, if you was watching the comments, there's about 5 other women that said, I know somebody who had the operation too. The numbers, the percentages that it equals is alarming for the amount of people to be watching that show. For 5 people to respond like, yeah, I know somebody. Gee, the numbers them is flawed numbers.
Oh, you know, once you open Pandora's box, sir, like it's open and everything is cracking now. You can't put a lid back on that thing like that. It's up there now.
It's definitely somewhere. I don't know if it's up. It's somewhere.
If it's up, then it's stuck. That's funny too.
Kind of not though when you think about it, though, right?
Yeah, I get it for sure. Like we don't have the manpower to afford such losses of manpower. You know, we already dealing with prison. We already dealing with prison and death, and we're also dealing with men who want to be women. And this for me, that part of the conversation is not a homosexual conversation. You can be gay, fam. Can you also be a man? Like, am I asking too much?
Obviously.
That our men stay men because we need y'all to be men? Obviously. Whether you like to have sex with men or not, that ain't my business, and I don't even care.
I don't want to know nothing about it.
But can we still be men because we need men? Like, we need them. That's all I'm saying. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this Thursday edition of I Said What I Said. We appreciate y'all, man, so very, very much. As always, y'all's input was valued. It was certainly appreciated. Y'all make sure y'all get up real early tomorrow at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time and hang out.
What's tomorrow, Friday?
Tomorrow is Friday.
What we doing tomorrow?
We having Relationship Friday. Bussy-fication. Bussy.
Drum roll, please. So we having a guest for tomorrow?
Boy. You get the term?
Yeah, I know what it is. I didn't want to go any further. You know what I mean? I avoided it just like I'm doing now.
Maybe. Mary's supposed to hang out with us tomorrow, man.
She said that? Mary be spooked.
Mary be shook. I don't know why. She was so good on the show on Friday. I really enjoyed her.
You know some gay dudes, right?
Yes.
Like, did you reach out to?
Ron, what you doing tomorrow? Ron, what you doing
I'm saying that I want to have a conversation. I want to invite. I think somebody asked me in the comments.
About that world.
Somebody asked me in the comments, do we ever invite anybody from that community on? I think we should, but they really discuss it. I mean, not just because they're gay, but somebody who can have a conversation.
Okay, I'll see if we can do that. I'll reach out and see if we can get that set up.
It ain't got to be tomorrow. I needed like a week to prepare.
See.
No, I'm serious. I want to have a real lot of questions and conversations so I can be really controlled and under.
I bet you don't say, but I want to push back though.
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
I bet you don't say I want to push back.
I'm not even gonna respond to that. Woo. Weapons 568. Assalamu alaikum.
That is funny. Major Jackson Show, 6 a.m. Book of Dawn follows that. And then, what's tomorrow? Friday? Tomorrow is Friday? What's after that?
On the wall, fam.
Huh?
It's on the wall.
It's on the wall, fam.
Tori Muhammad.
I'm drawing a blank. Right. Tori Muhammad Show, right? Major Jackson, Book of Dawn, Tori Muhammad, hop on the soil with the bigs. then we'll be back here. Same time, same place tomorrow. For Ron Rilla, he of the Twitter finger thumbs. Whew. Stay out them keyboards, bro. For Ron Rilla, Toussaint Werner, my name is Herb Howard. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
WIIFTBPM.
What?